telling the Coastal Commission to make like the beaches they love and pound sand. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the show. We're going to get it on. We got Jim Florentine back in the studio. Good to see you, Jim.
Good seeing you too, Adam.
Jim's got a special out. It's very funny. You Can't Please Them All, and that's available on Amazon Prime. Also, live dates all over the place, and you can go to jimflorentine.com, find out where he's coming to a town near you, spreading the mirth, journeyman comedian.
You know, that's what we do.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. You seem like a guy who probably had... Well, there's two kinds of comedians. There's the, I had a normal job. My dad worked at we had a construction firm, and I had to work, for his outfit. And then there's, I started doing stand-up when I was 13. Guys, who I hate.
Yeah.
Because I'm jealous. I'm like, how the hell did you know what you were doing in the 7th grade? It's like, my mom would drive me into town. Now I'm really mad. And she'd wait outside, and I'd do a set in the club. It's like, you didn't have pubes. How did this work?
I just knew I didn't want to work a day job, and I was landscaping before and doing construction, so I was like, I had nothing to fall back on. So once I got in, I got nothing. I can't go back to a career where I can make some money, so I'm fully in.
You can always fall back on poverty.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a comic, look, when I was making like $350 a week, I was like, I made it. To me, I was like, this is unbelievable.
Oh,
yeah.
I
just so I could pay my bills and
no
make a living at
on
this.
the hand. Yeah, no bumps and
working landscaping is one of those, scared straight kind of jobs that really make you go, listen, everyone goes, you have to inspire kids, and you have to show them, and you have to expose them to the arts, and you have to bring them to museums, and you have to bring them to the symphony, and you have to inspire them and expose them to art. It's like, no, you have to scare the shit out of them. You want to work at fucking Burger King when you're 55? No, you don't. So get your shit together. Like, it's a scared straight situation. I always had this fantasy that I would take my son to Home Depot and find anyone who worked there that was over the age of 70 and just go like, hey, old timer, can you give me a hand? He'd be like, what do you need, some couplings? No, I need you to tell my son what went wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
You tell him what you did to end up at the Burbank Home Depot at 74 years old, making $14 an hour. And you listen, boy.
No, I always took like the shittiest jobs knowing I got to get out of this. I'd bring my notebook on the site and write jokes. When I first started doing comedy, I still had to have the day job. I'm like, this is motivating me. I tell my nephew, take the shittiest job because he wants to be in a band. And believe me, you will write and you will get out of this eventually. Yes. Don't get some cushy job.
People chalk up a lot of this to some sort of inspiration and creativity. There's a lot to be said for desperation. I was desperate. People say, like, why'd you get into comedy? I'm like, I wanted air conditioning. I was desperate. I drove a truck with no air. I lived in an apartment with no air. There was no air conditioning. The job site had no air. I want to get into air conditioning. That was a prime motivator for me to get into show business.
Yeah, it's no, I mean that's what you got to do. And then once you start doing it, you're like, I'm getting paid to tell jokes. This is crazy.
Oh, and like free beer,
but no health insurance. Like instead of health insurance, like you got nothing. You just hope, like if you get hurt, you're in your car because the car insurance will help you. We'll pay your health insurance. Like if you break a leg while you're driving, that's the only way you get covered. But you got hot chicks, so that was your health. I said this is going to be a health insurance till you start making money.
I was thinking about the super fat chick who just is suing Lyft. She's in the news everywhere, the rapper, right? And it's great. It's such I will include that in the time capsule so that future generations could study us and figure out what the fuck happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we should include that. There's a Joe, I can't remember if we're playing it or not, but yeah, we played the Wisconsin City Council like arguing over whether they can fly the gay flag year round or the community or whatever. And I just thought that's going in the time capsule, like just so people generations from now can go back and go, what the fuck were they talking about? Like, what were they thinking? And then they'd be perplexed because they'd be like, they landed on the moon in 68, 69? Yeah. And then 47 years later, they were arguing about this fat bitch and whether she could get in the back of a car. Yeah. That's what they devolved into, But I was thinking about it. There's a lot of argument over, like, did the tires have enough tread on them to handle her fat ass? Could she have fit in there if she'd got a running start?
I said the only way she can win is if a tractor trailer picked her up and they said no.
Right.
Then maybe she has a case.
Enough lube, you could shove anybody anywhere.
Yeah. I guess he could have taken her down to the truck scales and gotten an accurate reading on her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And say these axles only rated to 500 pounds. But, okay. But I was more thinking about how she dressed. Because she was wearing yoga pants and a sports bra.
Hot. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Let me just say something. If you get to 500 pounds and you still don't have big titties, that's a deal breaker for me. You're packing an extra 25, but you got the big titties. I can look the other way at the wide ass.
I don't know. I'm living life on Easy Street. I developed a grimace fetish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, she's yours then.
Yeah, she's mine.
But she somehow managed to get to 600 pounds and still have a B cup, which is like, that's undoable for a woman. Like, I mean, there is a part where you go, yeah, the old lady's packed on 40 pounds, but her titties are D cups now, right? She got the big titties now, right?
Yeah.
She managed to get to 600 pounds and still not have large breasts, which is, if I got to 600 pounds, my titties would be much bigger than hers.
Absolutely. None of that weight that went there.
Which is weird, right?
Yeah, it is. Because usually when a woman puts on weight, they
go to the titties.
Yeah.
All right.
She did get some
in the ass.
She got some titties on her thighs.
Yeah, I guess.
Looks like her pockets
She
are
got
full
thigh
of
titties.
bunions.
I'll give you that. All right, so let's just. But here's what I'm saying. She's walking around in a sports bra and yoga pants, and okay, first things first. Like, I don't even know who manufactures sports bra that would work as a bra on an RV. You know what I mean? Like, why? When you're sitting around, you're a company. You go, well, we'll do petite, and we'll do medium, and then we'll do large, and then we'll do XL. But XL stops at a 200-pound woman, right? Who is she making? Is she going on Amazon and looking up sports bras?
In gargantuan.
Yeah, it'd be like if I go, I'm going to honey, go to Amazon, give me a pair of Nikes. I need some running shoes. What size shoe are you? 27. They just go, well, then we're not going to be able to. They're going to have that. They're going to stop at 15 or something. You know what I mean? So where's she getting the sports bra, Jim?
That's got to. It looks like maybe it's cut from a tarp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they used like a cover, like an RV cover.
Parachute material.
They made it.
Yeah, even the yoga pants.
All right. Well, here's what I'm saying, and this is the New World Order. Fat women. Back in the day, we had fat women. They were sort of few and far between. They're kind of a novelty.
Yeah.
Remember the joy, like the simple joy as a youth of just spotting a fatso at like a Sears? You know what I mean? Like when you're 11 and you just see some fat guy come around the corner in the tool aisle or something, and it was like you'd go grab your buddy who was over looking at camping shit and go, Kurt, come here. The fat guy was 265, you know what I mean? But it was like, had the belt, with the shirt tucked in and stuff. And you go get your friend, like, this is a fat ass, come here. Like, it was a fucking novelty. Like, it was Haley's Comet. Like, it was like, you got to check this out. Like, look at this guy. It was like a novelty form of entertainment. Now everyone's fat. You go to Disneyland, everyone's in a scooter, right? But women who were fat in my day, in the past, wore a mumu. You had a fat outfit. And the mumu was there to cover up as much of you as humanly possible because this was your shame to have let yourself get to this shape. And by the way, the mumu mumu's, at about 195, you slid into a mumu. You didn't start at 300.
Yeah.
You were ashamed. And you just walk out wearing a tarp on your head.
And it was always black to cover up that you weren't that big, because that would cover up a lot of the fat.
You wanted the vertical stripe mumu.
Right, yeah. Yep.
And I started to think about it, and I was like, yeah, we had an outfit for fat women called a mumu. Also, in a weird way, weirdly named, like the sound that a cow makes.
Yeah.
Probably not a great name for something that wouldn't entice women. Like, why don't you call it an oink oink? It's a weird name, moo moo. Like, that's going to shame women before they even try it on. But I started thinking, so back in the day, but this is what I'm saying. We had a good old-fashioned shamed-based culture. People didn't spit their gum on the ground. They didn't fight with cops. They didn't fight on Southwest flights. They didn't cuss people out behind counters for being out of ketchup and shit. Like, we had a shame that would be, if you were fat, you were shamed. You wanted to cover every square inch of your body you possibly could.
And at the beach, you weren't wearing a bikini.
Oh, not even close. You wouldn't even go to the beach.
Yeah, you wouldn't even go. You would keep your clothes on if you did go to the beach.
You might have a beach muumuu.
That's what I was thinking.
Just sit in your reinforced folding chair and just put on your big hat. And then I started realizing, I said, the muumuu thing isn't even that old. I went back. I was like thinking about, like, I think in Hee Haw, one of the mean wives wore the muumuu. But then I started thinking, the Drew Carey show had that character who was the crazy chick who wore too much eyeliner. And she basically wore a muumuu.
Yeah.
That's a modern day muumuu. We're going back to the late 90s here, people. This is modern moo. And then I started thinking, so here's what I'm saying. There's a psychological dynamic here. The rapper chick who's suing Lyft and showing up at her press conferences in her yoga pants and her sports bra and her gut just like slopping out all over the places, just grabbing that microphone and putting her triple chin into it and yelling about it. And she's not ashamed. She's showing it off. She's proud.
Yeah, we've been in the move away from move moment.
Yes, moo lady, the guy would have went, you're too fat for the Prius, and she went, sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry. And then went home and like dove into a bucket of Haagen-Dazs. It's like a big eat shame, you know what I mean? Just and crying with every maybe a wooden spoon.
No, it's a
big wooden spoon, Haagen-Dazs between the big fat thighs, and tears just coming down, melting that freezer burn. Just that. That was the muumuu chick. Now I'm gonna take my fat ass gut and lawyer up and fuck you. That's where we're at now.
Yeah,
I want to get back to the shame.
You would think that you'd wear a muumuu maybe just to cover up. Maybe you feel bad for her, like, oh man, but when you dress like that, like you're almost a stripper, coming out like a stripper. And also, I noticed in stand-up, you used to be always able to do fat jokes on stage. I used to have like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Every new set I had, and they would always work. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, no more, unless you're a fat guy. You can
do fat guy stuff.
Yeah, fat guys could do fat jokes, but if you're a skinny guy, they just stare at you like it's a race joke.
Oh. Right.
You can't make fun of fat people. And that's changed over the last like 10, 12 years on stage.
Well, so shame is kind of the mortar that holds the bricks of society together. Shame. Like people go, oh, you ever go to Tokyo? There's no gum on the ground. There's no litter. There's no anything. I go, yeah, they're shame-based.
Right.
They would fuck someone up who spit gum out. We got gum spitting all over the place because we don't give a fuck. Yoga pants, sports bras, and gum everywhere. Shame is what makes you get dressed to go on a commercial flight and not in cutoff sweats and flip-flops, right? It keeps... Shame is sort of... These people are like driving their car. Like, I was driving through Manhattan... I was there a month ago. And it was 34 degrees outside, and there's a dude driving his wagon with all the windows down and the stereo just cranked all the way up, like rap. But basically, it was a polar vortex inside of his SUV, but he still needed all the windows down so that you could hear his shitty music and everyone could hear his shitty music. Shame-based societies don't put up with that shit. They don't put up with any of this shit.
Yeah.
And we decided a few years ago, and I always said, they started saying it like 25 years ago. They go, you can't judge. You can't judge. You can't profile. You can't judge. I go, no, yes, you can. You have to. You must judge. Yeah. You can't judge. Yes, you can. I judge all the time. That's all I do is profile and judge and profile. They go, but you can't judge. It's like, if your neighbor takes an old fucking beaten up sofa and just parks it on his dirt lawn and leaves it there, start fucking judging. He's fucking up your neighborhood.
Yep. No, you're right. That whole shame word came in. You can't shame. You're shaming. Don't.
People have no fucking shame now. That's the problem. They used to say, "Have you no shame?"
And then then punching down. Oh, you're punching down on your jokes. Punch up.
Right.
So that was a big thing too. If you punch down, you were frowned upon.
Yes. Listen, I have the experience and I got a front row seat to poor people because I grew up with them. Funny, Drew would always go, Dr. Drew's dad was a doctor, and he'd always go, my dad had money, but he was a child of the Depression, and he would always worry about it, and he would say, you're going to take us to the poorhouse. You keep spending, Drew would buy a peachy folder or something. His dad would go, we're going to end up at the poorhouse with you. And he said to me once, he goes, your dad ever do that one on you? And I go, no, he didn't try that. And he's like, why not? And I go, we lived in the poorhouse. Right. That's our house. Yeah. Where are we going? We're already there.
Right.
So these people were not noble. They were not hardworking. They were not inherently honest. There was nothing about them that was good at all. They were fucking lazy and blamed everyone else and they didn't have the work ethic to get their shit together to have a fucking decent life. And they weren't inherently anything. They weren't noble at all. They were basically lazy and they didn't really pay very much in taxes. And that was about it. They did a lot of finger pointing about this guy with his Cadillac and his big house, but they were just jealous and they're fucking lazy and that is shitty work ethic. That's who they were.
Yeah.
And not particularly motivated. Certainly didn't do any philanthropic shit. They didn't take care of anybody else. There was no volunteering. There was no taking care of. They didn't take care of their kids. They didn't take care of the fucking elderly lady down the street. They took care of themselves. That was their number one job. And they're fucking poor and lazy. And then later on, I got rich. And I started hanging around with rich guys. And they're vastly more philanthropic. They're smarter. They spend much more time mentoring and giving their time to other people as well as paying taxes and not committing crimes. So fuck you, poor people, and stop making it you're not all noble. A lot of you are just lazy.
Yeah.
And you fucking drink too much and you do too much externalizing.
So you're saying you're a communist?
No, I'm the opposite.
I know.
All the rich people I met, it wasn't even forget the fact that no one in my family paid jack shit in taxes. Forget about that. Yeah. And forget about however much Jimmy Kimmel pays the state and pays the nation in taxes every year. Forget about just the millions of dollars that these guys generate. He's actually a nicer, more decent person who would do more for other people. It's not just, he's paying, he's paying more, or these people are paying more. I found them to be much more generous with their time, much more involved with their family and their own kids and other people's kids and stuff. They're just better.
Yeah.
So knock it off with the fucking nobility and all this shit. Every time I hear somebody like, these are hardworking people, mostly drinkers who forgot to pull out. Now they got a couple of fucking kids.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
9 to 5, get home. They don't want to do anything. They don't have a side hustle.
Yeah, I mean,
or
it could
any of
be
that.
You got to
argued,
fucking work.
yeah.
You got to have a side. No one in my family had any kind of side hustle or I'll put it to you. Let's just put it to you this way. Last weekend, where was I? I was working. This weekend, where am I? I'm working. My dad's never worked. My mom's never worked. The people at work, they never worked a fucking weekend in their life, ever. There was no Saturdays. There was no side hustle. There's no anything. They're fucking poor because they were lazy. That was it.
It was 9 to 5. That was it. You're home. You had the weekends off.
It's not. They're not poor because Elon Musk took all the money and won't give any back to your lazy ass. You're fucking lazy. You're not working. What do you want me to tell you? If you're fat, you're fat. Lose some fucking weight. Put a mumu on and shame yourself into some weight. And you're fucking poor. Get a second job and work some weekends. It's for you, by the way. It's not for me. Elon's fine. Me and Elon, we're not in the same bracket, but I'm saying, what the fuck? I don't know where you come from, Jim.
I come from middle class, family of 7. Dad worked his ass off, worked 9 to 5 job. And we worked for everything. He never gave us anything. Go out there and bust your ass. And he busted his ass. So we all bust our ass. Our whole family. We're just still working 2-3 jobs. Always. I've been working full time since I was 14. I was working full time and going to college at the same time. The only time I ever had off ever is during the pandemic. I never filed for unemployment ever in my life, except for during the pandemic. Everyone else is. I might as well. Mm-hmm. And it was driving me nuts that I couldn't work. So I've always had that work ethic.
Yeah, I was talking to, listen to this, man. I was interviewing Kelsey Grammer. It'll air in a couple days. But he was saying, he goes, I grew up in Florida. I go, yeah. He was talking about working. You know what I mean? Like he goes, you got to learn to work. That was always my argument. I would say I worked at McDonald's, let my son work at McDonald's, and then every woman would go, he doesn't have to work at McDonald's. I go, he doesn't have to work at McDonald's. He shouldn't work. Your son should not be. I go, it's good to learn to work. It's not about the money. It's not about McDonald's. It's just working. Show up, get in your fucking uniform, punch in, do your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Work a little, break a sweat, learn how to work, and learn what you don't want to do. Dude, I didn't want to work at McDonald's. I mean, I knew that after day one that I didn't want to be there. So I started trying to work on other things to get me out of McDonald's. But Kelsey Grammer said to me that at age 14, he had a full-time job in Florida at a Denny's, and he did dishes. He bussed dishes and cleaned dishes at Denny's, which was open 24 hours. And the job started at 7 p.m. No, started at 11. At 11 and ended at 7 a.m. the following morning. At 14, and he would take a motorboat. He had a little motorboat, and he would take it along the Florida coastline there, and he would motor to it, dock the boat, go into the Denny's at, 8:30 at night, punch in, do dishes until 7 a.m. This is your 14-year-old gone all fucking night. He did it during the summer, but gone all night, getting his motorboat, motor home at, 8 in the morning. And he's like, I learned how to work.
Yeah.
And that's why Kelsey Grammer never fucking stops working, but not at a Denny's, just something in show business.
Yeah. No, my kid is 14, and there's elective classes for ninth grade. I said, there's a video editing. And he goes, I don't know if I want to take that. I go, take it. I go, do you want to work at a McDonald's or do you want to do video editing? I could definitely get you a job. Maybe you do my shit or whatever, but you're going to have to start working soon. It depends if you want to wash dishes or do video editing. He goes, all right, I'm going to do the video editing. I go, because you're going to be working by next year at 15.
Good.
Got to get after it.
Good for you.
Yeah. I said, so just start. I already got him mowing the lawn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm like, you got to get out there.
It's interesting because he brought up his son in the McDonald's incident that stung in your heart somehow. Do you think that if you're very successful, your kids are going to depreciate in work ethic, or are they gonna?
100%.
That
1,000%.
That was great. No, but I mean, it sounds like. Did you win the McDonald's argument?
No, I never won any argument.
Yeah. So
I've never
then
won
how
an
did you
argument with a
instill
woman. I didn't.
So now this guy's chilling.
Listen, well, he's going to junior college.
I know, but
don't
is he gonna
listen.
get after
I
it in
tried.
something?
I would try to implement some discipline in a gravity-free environment when I was married with my kids, because I realized that it was a weird dynamic, because I was the celebrity, but I was still the only one who worked. You know what I mean? So I lived right in the middle of reality all the time, because I was constantly working, trying to keep this lifestyle up. You know, it was a big lifestyle. It cost a lot of money. And so I didn't need the work ethic conversation, because I was working all day, every day, and weekends and everything else. Everyone else in my family was sort of floating around. And so I would try to get hold of my kids and kind of nail them down and go, this is what you need to do. But it was always a fucking battle. And I used to do stuff like I'd say to my son, when he was like 13 or 14, I was like, you got to get some discipline. And he'd go, yeah, all right. And then I'd go, look, I had the habit of taking the cold plunge in my swimming pool during the winter. Foothills, it'd be freezing water, right? So I go, look, I do the cold plunge every morning in the pool. The pool's probably 45 degrees or something like that. So I said, you got to start getting used to doing shit you don't want to do. Now, the problem is you don't have to do anything because of the amount I work. So we have to simulate gravity in your world.
Yeah.
Like I would always go when they go up in the space shuttle and they hang out the space station for 6 months, the astronauts lose bone density because they're floating. They have to simulate a bench press. They have to work out in a way with rubber bands and stuff, because if you float, you float for a year, you'll come back to Cape Canaveral emaciated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, imagine that fat black
I was just
rapper
thinking
in
that.
outer space. Could you imagine her coming by like the Macy's parade?
Yes.
That would be awesome. Get her sponsored by MetLife. You know, just have her floating.
Snoopy behind her.
Oh my God!
Like, look at that drone.
So I said to my son, I go, listen, I go out probably 2 times a week on average to drive from Deep La Cañada to like the Comedy Store, the Improv, to do stand-up. I do it for free. I'm not getting paid. I'm not going out on the road. I'm going to better myself, and it's a long haul, but I'll do it a couple nights a week, and I'll do it for free. So on the days I do that, you need to get in the pool.
I like that.
Right. Now, anytime a woman hears that story, they go, why do you have to torture your son? And I'm like, I'm not torturing him. I'm trying to build a little character here.
Mongolian river walk.
That's right. It worked once or twice, and then it got shouted down.
Meanwhile, my growing up, my dad put me in full kit, army gear, push-ups, pull-ups, like run 12 miles, like screaming in my face all the time, and made an easy transition to the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Yeah, your dad. Your dad. Oh God, it was like
polar opposite. Like totally active. Jim Carolla didn't care. My dad cared too much.
Why is there? Find me a clip of Officer and a Gentleman when Richard Gere's doing push-ups and Lou Gossett Jr. is like screaming at him to quit. That's what I'm
sort of like this.
But what kind of range is there in dads? I don't get it. My dad, if I didn't get off the sofa, I was like, I'm going to go out and get a job. Like, all right. But if I said I'm going to go out and rape a school-age girl, he'd go, yeah, all right. I never did anything. Like, how's your dad? How are your dad and my dad both dads?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, here it is, sir.
98.
That.
99.
Yeah.
Get your face all the way down in there.
That's like Mayhem. Your dad,
My
right?
pops is just standing there at
You ready
parade
to quit
rest.
now, Mayo?
I swear, it's giving me flashbacks.
Look over there, Mayo. Look over there. Look at her. She decided to stay instead of taking liberty on this weekend. She may not make it through the program, but she got more heart and more character than you'll ever have. And stop eyeballing me, boy. Life sure has dealt you some shitty cards, hasn't it, Mayo? All right, sir.
By the way, he's up to 117 push-ups. I know. Still no problem,
I done
Richard.
some checking. I looked through your files. I know about your mama. Hey, don't you eyeball me. You know your father's an alcoholic and a hole chaser.
I wonder if black people masturbate to this. Don't you think like a 47-year-old black guy could rub one out to this?
It's subtly erotic. This took a weird turn.
I just think black men over a certain age could definitely squeeze one off to this.
Not right. No, sir! No, sir!
Yeah, but this guy's a Marine.
So is
My
that
dad
like your
is
dad?
82nd Airborne. Yeah, it's no comparison.
It's
way
weird 'cause
worse.
I did the same thing. I just had this conversation with my kid the other day, going into New York on a Monday or Tuesday night to work on new jokes. And I go, I have to do this. I'm not getting paid any money. I have to work on my craft because he's playing basketball and he thinks, I go, you're sitting on the couch. Are you getting any better by sitting on the couch? I go, you think you're that good? Where, because you play good in a couple games that you don't need to practice. You need to be out there shooting 100 free throws. I go, why am I doing this? I'm doing this over 30 years. I'm still working for free, working on jokes. I need to get better. Every time I'm on stage, I get better.
Is that because you just feel something from the audience and you can tell like micro expressions of different ways you tell it, or is like bigger laughs on this and that?
No,
like,
I just know I got to work on these jokes, and he's got to work on his basketball. I can't just rest on my laurels and go, no, I'll figure it out on stage when I do a big theater or
is it
something
harder
like that.
now that you like kind of got a fan base built up and like guys that follow you, people that follow you at different clubs?
No, I like going into New York because they're young and they have no idea who I am, and that's good. So then I know if the jokes are going to work. So I don't want to perform in front of the audience. These are 23-year-old kids. They have no idea who I am.
Games. You don't want a lot of
Yeah,
easy ones.
those are great too, but I want to work on that stuff in New York and then bring it out on the road. I'll know if it works in front of a crowd that doesn't know me.
Yeah. It's like you're a band and you're playing at a carnival. And no one bought a ticket to see you, but you're going to go up and play.
Yeah. So
you got to be good. If you're a band and you're playing in front of your crowd, they're all going to enjoy it. It's the same with stand-up.
Yep.
The hardest stand-up is, you're seventh in a line of 11 people that are going up there, and nobody's bought a ticket for you. They just bought a ticket to go out and see comedy.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, I was listening to RFK's cousin go off on RFK Jr., who I like. He's been here.
He's the best.
Interviewed him a couple of times. I've been to his place for his birthday. I've done his comedy benefit and stuff. Find him to be very earnest, very sincere, and also I find him to be someone who cares. He's like, kids are sick, kids are obese. We had a real high death incident with COVID, much higher than other countries, because the average person here who died of COVID had 3.5 comorbidities going in. 3.5. I mean, some had 11. You know what I mean? But the point is we have all these comorbidities. Everyone's fucking allergic to everything. Everyone is fat, can't even fit in a Lyft or an Uber. And he actually wants to do something about it. And I've talked to him, and he's a very earnest, sincere guy who wants to help. And of course, we'll have to tear him apart now with all, vaccine, whatever, skepticism or, but his family is such dyed-in-the-wool leftists that he hooked up with Trump and now they're 10. Now, RFK Jr. would have happily hooked up with Kamala Harris if she'd let him do his agenda. I don't think he really cared. I think he has an agenda, which is basically French fries in Europe at the aforementioned McDonald's have 3 ingredients, the potato and the beef tallow and the salt. And here there's like 14 ingredients, and he'd rather get back to that. And I'm like, okay.
And she never even called him back. She wouldn't even take his call.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's not. I don't know why they're not interested in this, but they're not interested in this. But they're interested in attacking him. But it's only because Trump appointed him. And but this is his cousin who's laying it out. She's doing a video. She's got to get involved now.
But now that Bobby has been nominated by President Trump to be Secretary of Health and Human Services, a position that would put him in charge of the health of the American people, I feel an obligation to speak out. Overseeing the FDA, the NIH, the CDC, and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
All right, hold on a second. NIH, CDC, didn't you guys just get done lying about everything COVID?
Everything.
Rochelle Walensky, you ran the CDC. Didn't you just fucking lie your coos off about everything COVID? Didn't you just lie the entire time? Or did you just get everything wrong? I don't know. I like to play stupid or liar. But then the CDC just end up 10 minutes ago, they just lied about everything COVID. So we're worried that the CDC is going to fall into the hands of who? Somebody doesn't lie? Fuck off. All right, play this thing. Sorry.
To speak out. Overseeing the FDA, the NIH, the CDC, and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, agencies that are charged with protecting the most vulnerable among us, is an enormous responsibility and one that Bobby is unqualified to fill. He lacks any relevant government, financial, management, or medical experience. His views on vaccines are dangerous and willfully misinformed. These facts alone should be disqualifying.
Oh, shit.
But he has personal qualities related to this job, which for me pose even greater concern. I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator.
What?
He's always been charismatic, able to attract others through the strength of his personality, his willingness to take risks, and break the rules.
Is she saying this guy banged his cousin?
I watched his younger brothers and cousins follow him down the path of drug addiction. His basement, his garage, his dorm room were always the center of the action, where drugs were available, and he enjoyed showing off how he put baby chickens and mice in a blender to feed to his hawks. It was often a perverse scene of despair and violence.
Despair.
Yeah, it's like the Saw dungeon down there.
Oh, man.
So he did some stuff when he was in his 20s.
Yeah, he got fucked up.
And now he's
Who hasn't
71.
blended up a chicken?
Can you imagine what your punch list would look like of stuff? Like I just read out loud about what Jim did when he was 19. Holy goddamn shit.
How fucked up are the Kennedys that all of them were running to his room for all this stuff?
I know.
Hello, we're
It's hawk feeding time. By the way, I love that feeding the hawks a time of despair and misery for the other 19-year-olds. Like, that'd be the greatest afternoon of my life, seeing a hawk fed. But, all right, she said he puts baby chickens and mice in a blender.
Yeah, if you keep birds like that, you gotta feed them. Like, yeah.
Right, but they don't have to be alive when they go into the blender. They can be dead when they... I'm imagine... Okay, you have a dog, right? The dog eats food. The food used to be alive, but now it's dead. And then your dog eats it. Like, I ate a cow last night for dinner, but it wasn't a live cow. But somebody... It's not like somebody threw a cow into a skillet so Carolla could enjoy himself. It's like, yeah, it was cow, but it wasn't a live cow in a skillet. It was a steak that was from a cow that ended up in a skillet. It goes on and on. I think when you eat chicken, for instance, like I've eaten chicken. You eaten chicken? Not live chicken, just somebody killed the chicken and then I ate it. So I'm imagining you're putting the mouse and the bird in the blender after they've gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're deceased.
Right.
Because otherwise it seems like a handful trying to get a bird and a mouse in a blender. And she didn't make the distinction, but I think that I'm going to go ahead and say the bird and the mouse were dead.
No, but I'm telling you, the trick is to underhanded scoop the mouse, underhanded scoop, and overhanded scoop the bird. That's the way you
get blender?
Into the blender, yeah.
But even if they were alive, let's just say, I'm going to say, we have this weird relationship with meat and protein and nature and whatever. Like weird, like this guy ate roadkill. Well, you ate cattle kill from a place that does factory farming and a fucking chub pack of ground beef. Like, oh, which is it? Like, I've had these conversations mostly with chicks where they're like, I'm just not going. And you're going, you're wearing a leather belt and leather boots. Why is that okay? Well, that's different. You know, well, why is it different? I don't know. I just don't like hunting. You know what I mean? Like they don't like hunting, but they eat. It's 86% of women who don't like hunting eat meat.
Yep.
So I don't even know what the fuck they're even talking about.
Cuteness.
So, but should we starve the hawk? Like, what do we do with the hawk?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the hawk, set the hawk free. Then the hawk eats the bunny rabbit. Is that okay?
He's gonna find something.
He's going to find something to eat, right?
Yep.
They're only birds that don't actually eat other shit are seagulls. They only eat French fries at the pier. They're the laziest of all the birds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they know it's coming. Don't worry. We're just going to go hang out here. Someone's going to feed us.
The elderly seagulls, like the elder seagulls,
right?
They must sit back and just see them hanging out at the dumpster going, we used to hunt. We used to get mice. We were birds of prey. Look at this wingspan and this beak, not too shabby. Now he's begging for fucking fries down at the pier. So pathetic what happened to these kid seagulls these days. Seagulls are the laziest of all the birds, right?
Scavenger.
They're so lazy, they don't even like flying half the time.
No.
Sometimes you'll be coming up on them in the car in the beach parking lot, and they're like, yeah, slow it down, old man. I'm walking. I got to walk to the dumpster, eat some fries, and then walk back. No fear.
No, and let me go cruise the beach. Somebody's going to, throw some food for us, and we'll just...
They spec'd into the size bird size.
Maybe not even throw some food for us. Maybe just set the churro down and look the other way, and we'll just come sliding in and snatch it up, right? Yeah.
That must be nice to go eat at the beach, you know?
Always.
Yeah, we can go hang out at the beach.
That's
we'll
your
get
life.
some food there.
Picnic.
Yeah.
And also, if you had to have one bird's diet, it would definitely be the seagull. Because all other birds eat like grubs and snails and live mice and dead rabbit and dead snake and shit like that. They eat French fries and burger buns and probably top off with a milkshake. Like, they're not bad. They ate like you ate when you were 9.
Yeah.
Basically. All right, so she doesn't want him elected because he had a hawk, and he fed it stuff that was in a blender.
And he did drugs when he was in his 20s.
Did drugs when in college.
Do you think she really believes all of this? It seems like one of those hostage video type things where maybe they got something on her.
No, I think the brainwaves coming from the cat in her lap. Yeah.
Maybe.
But she's also reading it. She's reading this statement that's written like it's like she's thinking, I don't know.
But it's also funny. She's like, you know why he likes birds of prey? Because he's a predator. Yeah. And you know why he likes that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Predator? Because he's a predator. You know why he likes those alien movies? He's an alien. You know why he likes Godzilla? Why do you think he likes Godzilla? Because he's a giant lizard who comes from the sea and terrorizes Tokyo. Like, I feel like people could like funny cars without driving a funny car. Or
yeah.
They could like, don't get me going with porn.
Reading about serial killers but not be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Knowing all that stuff.
Yeah. You know why he liked watching the Wizards of Waverly Place? He's a wizard. I would argue that most of my viewing is just shit. Carolla, why'd you watch that Bob Dylan movie? You think you're Bob Dylan? No, just watching a movie. That's how it works. Aha. And then what's that other movie you saw? Flight Risk. Oh, perhaps you're a flight risk yourself. Is that true? Are you Mark Wahlberg with a shaved head in a Cessna? That's why I like those birds of prey. There's actually There was a movie called Birds of Prey, right?
Yeah. Harley Quinn.
Did you watch that because you, in fact, wanted to join their group of praying birds? No. All right, so she makes some valid points.
She's worried about the vaccines, too.
Yeah.
Bobby, I did a radio show with Bobby years ago, right before my kid was born. I talked to him about the vaccines off the air, and he's like, listen, man, just do your research. I'm not telling you not to, but just be careful. Don't take the hepatitis B when your son is 6 hours old. They'll give it to you in the hospital. That's for intravenous drug users and stuff like that, and it's a sex thing. He doesn't need it, so just say no to that. And then, like 6 weeks in, I said no to that. 6 weeks, I go, let me just get this rotavirus vaccine for my kid. He wound up in the hospital for 5 days.
Damn.
And they wouldn't say that it was from the vaccine.
Well, let's just at least do this. Weren't you asswipes trying to foist an experimental vaccine on everyone in America 10 minutes ago that half of the citizens didn't need, except for you were threatening to take away their livelihood or throw them out of the military or throw them out of the police department or the fire department, or to just basically put a scarlet letter on them and have them removed from society, not able to eat in restaurants? Weren't you assholes just pushing for the experimental vaccine that my son definitely fucking didn't need, and neither did any other healthy individual in this society? And then weren't you lying about it the entire time and about the effects and the side effects? And aren't there now going to be long-term side effects of this? So maybe you're not the people who should be giving the sanctimonious lectures on vaccines. Perhaps not. Maybe we should give it 3 years of you not foisting an experimental vaccine that could be harmful to a lot of people on them when it was unnecessary. Maybe you should just shut the fuck up for a 36-month period before getting sanctimonious about the subject of vaccines. That's all.
And remember, when Trump was introducing it in 2019, they're like, oh, I'm not, that's the Trump vaccine. Don't take it. I don't trust it.
Oh, right.
And then when he lost the election, then if he would have won that election, what would have happened with the vaccines? Because Trump was pushing them.
Right.
So then don't take them. Don't trust them.
Right.
It would have went that way. Because anything he did would have been the opposite.
It didn't do shit anyway.
So the Trump people would have taken the vaccine, and the other people said, don't take it. You don't trust that guy. But since Biden won, then it was okay vaccine.
Yeah, I'm saying in lieu of what we just went through is vaccine denier. To me, the vaccine deniers seem like the prescient ones who actually thought about it versus whatever the fuck you guys are talking about. But it's such a weird title to hang on somebody when you're tending to agree with what he did. Like, my son got vaccinated. I wish he didn't get vaccinated. Does that mean I'm a vaccine denier? Because he got all his other vaccines. I just wish he didn't get the unnecessary one. But also, if you said to him, well, we should give him the whooping cough vaccine, the one you'd get when you travel to Africa, I'd go, he's not going to Africa. They go, yeah, but give him the vaccine. I'd go, no reason to do it. Well, what if he goes to Africa? What if he slips in the shower and ends up in Africa? Do you really want this? I'd just go, no, it's unnecessary. He doesn't need it. That doesn't mean I'm a vaccine denier. It's unnecessary for him. And they fucking foisted it on every young male out there. And no, we don't know the long-term effects of it. Maybe nothing. Probably nothing. We'll never really know. But there was a way we could have known. They didn't have to fucking take it in the first place. And you lying sanctimonious pricks didn't have to force it on them. Jesus Christ. And now you're up on your fucking high horse.
And even that rotavirus vaccine is for a stomach flu, like a bad stomach flu. And that's for like people in Africa that don't, can't get hydrated or whatever like that. It's not in America. Like, it's unnecessary. And you get 3 doses of that as a kid.
And we're not willing to entertain the idea that Big Pharma may be a little nefarious in certain instances, or that government officials and guys like Fauci may be doing the bidding for these people. We're not going to entertain that notion. Rochelle Walensky headed up the CDC. She just fucking said whatever they told her to say. She went and said it's safe to open schools, and then what's-her-coos got hold of her and said, walk that back. And she walked it back. So is that some sort of independent government sanctioning body? She literally said It was Rochelle Walensky.
is pronounced Weingarten.
Yeah, yes. Randy Weingarten. Okay, so everyone dig this. The head of the CDC stood in front of a CDC banner and said, I think kids should go back to school. And then the head of the teachers' unions got hold of her and said, walk it back, bitch. The head of the teachers' union doesn't know shit about infectious disease, but she wants her students and she wants her teachers to stay home and rot and get paid in full. So then she goes to the head of the CDC and says, take it back. And then the head of the CDC comes back out and goes, I was just speaking as a mom, but not really the head of the CDC, even though I was standing in front of a step and repeat that said CDC on it. So don't listen to me. Okay, so you're worried about that system being corrupted by RFK Jr.? Is that your concern? I'm not concerned. Mm-hmm. I would like him to get involved with that system. You're not saying the former system we had, is that just fine? You want the CDC taking marching orders from the teachers union? You want the governor of California taking marching orders from the teachers union, or would you like him to govern and open schools if he thinks it's a good idea? Because that's the system we just walked away from.
And isn't the CDC
idiots.
the one that had the food you're supposed to eat is like 5 pieces of bread a day or whatever? Remember that whole...
You eat a sack of flour right. before you brush your teeth in the morning, and then you take a bagel. You take 9 bagels, and you put them on a long churro that's duct taped to a breadstick, and then you just funnel them down your face. But you can have a cube of beef every 4 months. That's fine.
Right.
Whatever Kennedy put in the blender, stay away from that protein. You need carbs, and more carbs, not fat.
And then pizza was considered a vegetable.
Right.
So that was okay.
Fine.
So that's coming from the CDC that we're supposed to listen to.
Find Rochelle Walensky, because I just miss her. It's got to be a weird position where you head up something and then everyone's like, just go fucking lie, Jim. Just go, you have to lie for us. And you're like, it's really weird and uncomfortable to stand. I'm supposed to be an expert. You know, like I'm an expert carpenter.
Right.
If someone was like, say roofs don't need a pitch. Flat roofs drain as well as a roof with a steep pitch. I'd go, I'm a carpenter. It's going to feel weird. Just do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll just go up there and lie. She's up there giving that speech about her son. Her autistic son, I'm assuming he's autistic, going to summer camp. You remember that one, Dawson? It's the best. It's the best. Listen. She's the head of the CDC, but she's a mom first. Just listen to her lie about her son. And also, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Thank God she's gone. I'm sure she just works for a big pharmaceutical company now, so she's fine. Here we go.
With regard to camp, I have a 16-year-old. Every year he comes home from camp and he writes the number of days until he returns to camp the next year.
All right, pause it. That's severe autism. 16, comes home from camp and gets a calendar out like he's in solitary confinement, starts marking days off. Like
maybe he just wants to be away from his mom. He knows every day he's at camp, he doesn't have to be around her.
Or maybe
that's a good point, but it's still very autistic.
No, it is.
You just got home. Okay, here's when you're going back to camp. About 350 days from now, you will go back from camp. No need to mark off. Monday, you're not going back to, you don't need to mark it off. But anyway, she has a 16-year-old son. Okay, she's lying. She doesn't have a 16-year-old son who goes to camp and then comes back and marks it off every single day. But all right, so she's already lying. But here we go, bitch.
Comes home from camp and he writes the number of days until he returns to camp the next year. This year, it got to 0, and I told him he wasn't going.
All right. Hold on. Worst mom in the world.
You probably could have told him
give him
2
three.
weeks
Give him like
before.
Even
2 weeks
72-hour notice.
Yeah.
He's drawing a big 0 on his wall with his piece of chalk.
He's packing his shit.
He's got his canoe over his head. He's got his paddle underneath his arm. He's got his JanSport backpack, and he's walking out the door, and she like taps him on the shoulder like, yeah, where are we going? Oh, I forgot my snowshoes. No. Head it on back. Bring it in. You got to 0. This time, it got to 0. And when he was just done completing the circle, he just got done with the 0, she barged into his room and told him to unpack his duffel.
Yeah, he could have said, Mom, when you saw me packing 2 weeks ago, why didn't you say anything? And also, that conversation didn't come up from
Never
day
came
350 to 0.
No.
That when's camp? I can't wait. My friends are going.
Yeah,
no. It didn't come up.
And, this year he's 17, started smoking, he's hanging out, you know what I mean? He's drinking beers already.
Yeah.
Like playing video games. Like, I don't want to go to camp.
So this year, it got to 0. Okay. Well, first things first, she's just lying to Congress. Like she's made up a fucking story.
A nice fable.
But all right, here we go.
It got to 0, and I told him he wasn't going.
Oh, man.
I want our kids back in camp.
Oh, you do?
We now have 38,000 new infections.
Hold on, you see her
on
stupid
average
brain fart when
day.
she's in the middle of her
Last
lie?
May
She's
11th.
like, I want our kids back in camp. Something happened to my face. What happened? Oh, what happens is when I lie for too long, my face freezes up at some point. It's like when your phone gets too hot.
Yeah.
It just goes to sleep mode for a minute. She was like, I want our kids back in camp. Watch your fucking face
Or it
lock
could be
up.
a side effect to the 4th booster.
Oh,
she
maybe
got.
it's a 4th booster. You're right. Let's see what happens to her face.
I want our kids back in camp. We now have 38,000 new infections on average per day. Last May 11th, it was 24,000. And we sent a lot of kids home, and camps were closed. The camp guidance is intended to get our kids to camp and allow them to stay there.
But your kid's not going to camp. But there's camp guidance to get your kids to camp and allow them to stay there. But she won't send her autistic son to camp. And then, isn't her son vaccinated? Why not get your son vaccinated and then send your son to camp? You never said whether your son was vaccinated. What you should be saying is, camp's open, my son's vaccinated, and he's going. Nothing about vaccinations, but I waited till the goose egg on the wall, and then I told him he wasn't going to camp. She's lying. She's compromised. She lied just like Fauci lied, and he was compromised. They're all fucking compromised. People are like, we can't have something else? Anything else will be fine. Maybe they'll lie and they'll be compromised as well. But these guys just got done with that.
That was the pitch. If you got vaccinated, you can go out and go live your life. Once you're up to
But
date
then
on
it
your
didn't
vaccines,
really work
and
that way.
You could take your mask off and go live. So if the kid's obviously vaccinated, whatever he needed, 2-3 shots at this point, he had them. So he was safe, according to you guys.
She didn't. I suspect she didn't get her son vaccinated.
Really?
I suspect she knew stuff about vaccines.
Okay.
Being the head of
a
the
lot of
CDC.
people in the government did
And
not
I
get their
suspect
kids
she was also
vaccinated.
like, this guy's 16 and he's fit and he has no reason to be
And
vaccinated.
I don't think the
so-
vaccine was kosher. No.
Is there the one where she walked back the school opening one? As long as we're making fun of Rochelle Walensky, you can look around. I'll have you do that. She basically just went, I said open schools, but I wasn't really saying it as the head of the CDC. I was saying it as a diesel mechanic. I don't know what the fuck. What were you saying it as?
What is the conversation like from the teachers union into the CDC?
Teachers
like,
are
is it a
super
flex or
teachers are super fucking lazy and they don't want to go to work. I just talked to my son. My son knocked off junior college, and let's not call it community college. I like the stigma.
Oh, I like that junior college.
I like the stigma of junior. Community sounds noble.
Yeah.
Junior, that sounds bad. And that's what I like it. I want it to sting a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
I went to
get out of
junior
here.
college.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it stung. There used to be a comedian who would tell a funny joke, and it doesn't work anymore. The joke doesn't work anymore, but he would say, junior college is high school with ashtrays. And I'm like, yeah, that's right what it is. The fucking losers from high school, now they can smoke in the quad. No one's going to hassle them. You know?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Everybody in life would like to not work and get paid. That's all
The dream.
That's the dream of all Americans is to not have to show up and get paid. The problem with society as we know it is if you don't show up, after a while you don't get paid. Teachers do not want to show up and want to get paid like everybody else. But the problem with the rest of life, if you're a transmission mechanic, your constituency is everyone with a broken transmission, and you fucking need to fix it. And if you stop showing up, then you'll stop getting paid because they went. But what if your clientele didn't want you to fix their transmission? Meaning, my kids don't want to show up at school any more than their fucking flunky teacher doesn't want to show up at school. So here's what they both want. The teacher wants to show up and get paid. The student wants to not show up but not be suspended or disciplined or put under academic whatever. It's a perfect mixture. It's like two heavyweights going, you don't want to get hit, do you? No, I don't want to get hit. Well, let's not hit each other, but we want to get paid, right? Don't cancel the fight. We'll just get in the ring, and it'll be a tacit agreement. You know what I mean? No kid has ever went, what the fuck? It's been 11 days, and I haven't been back. I talked to my son, junior college. He got off a week or 10 days before he was off a week before Christmas. I talked to him a few days ago. I'm like, you're not back at school yet? He's like, nah. How long do you... I text him, I go, how much time do you have? 5 weeks. You have over a month off. Now, who's deciding this? Well, the teachers unions, the students aren't putting up a fucking fight, and they just... You take this 5 weeks, we got 2 weeks coming. Pretty soon, Christmas just going to bleed into Easter.
Right.
Kid's going to come back for one day, and then they're going to have fun on your Easter break. And it's all going to connect. And then they have 3 months off during the summer.
Yeah.
My kids' teachers work way less than they actually have off. If you take the number of days in a year, split them in half, they have many more off days than they have work days. They don't want to fucking work. So Rochelle Walensky, all right. 5 fucking weeks. 5 weeks for 5 weeks.
By the way, my kid has off today from school in New Jersey for Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
My kid.
They took away Columbus Day, by the way.
Oh, yeah. My son got the day off after the election.
He did? Why, in case he was upset?
Well, everybody was upset.
Right.
He's in Oregon.
Right.
So those pussies were all upset. These kids are fucking... You know what they used to do at this age? Storm German pillboxes on Normandy Beach. That's what they did. Not to fucking take the day off because an election didn't go the way they wanted it. Jesus fucking Christ. And by the way, this is what teachers do. The teachers don't want to go in the next day. So they go, all right, listen, if Trump wins, day off, right? And everyone goes, let's show of hands. Show of hands. Okay, eyes have it? Okay, let's go. That's how it works. No kid stands up and yells, fuck you, I want to learn. Show up, bitch. They don't. They all just go home.
What they also love not being in school and teaching, being on Zoom, because I know a bunch of teachers around me in New Jersey who got Airbnbs in Florida and were teaching on the beach.
Yeah, okay.
Airbnb in Florida, hanging out there.
All heroes.
And it didn't matter where you were.
Lazy
like,
fucking
awesome.
heroes. Lazy kiss my fucking balls hero. Like, fuck all you guys. You guys proved yourself to be lazy brainwashers, essentially, and you want me to respect this. This guy's a teacher. He's fucking dropped out of society. Doesn't want to work. All right, break, and then we'll find Rochelle Walensky. Well, you want to start a business, your own business, a small business, and grow it this year. Let's do this, and now's the best time to start. Shopify is going to help you. I started a business, and I use Shopify, and I'm glad I did. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open for business, and get your first sale. Get your store up and running. It's easy, and they've got thousands of customizable templates that can help you with all the details like shipping, taxes, payments, from one single dashboard, allowing you to focus on the important stuff like growing your business, because you want to be freed up to grow your business, not burdened with the nickel and dime stuff. Let Shopify help you with that. With Shopify, your first sale is closer than you think. It's Shopify, right, Dawson?
Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Carolla, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Carolla to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/Carolla.
I remember it's like 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night. My ex-wife texts me, And the new girlfriend's over there. She's like, why is your ex-wife texting you at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night? I go, yeah, because my kid wants to play in this new basketball league. And she just wanted to make sure I could sign him up. She's like, yeah, right. I go, yeah, look at the text. I show it to her. She goes, well, why is there a heart at the end of the text? I go, because she wants me to pay for it. That's why, you know.
Jim Florentine is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Jim has dates. Jim has a special. You can't please them all. It's available on Amazon Prime as we speak. Podcast. Everybody's awful except you. And dates all over the place for Mr. Florentine at jimflorentine.com.
Yep.
Got that?
Yep.
All right, we got some news, but did you find that clip, Dawson? And if you did, put it on the screen or update the screen. But
Byron's
if you didn't,
looking for it.
If you didn't, you don't have to put it on. So you can just chime in when you find it. There's also some pretty good Liz Warren. I like when Liz she spools up. She like throttles up and she starts cutting on a hinge and she starts yelling at
The warpath
too. Yeah. She's Indian. That's the Iroquois in her coming out. You know, she's
I thought
on.
she was Shoshone.
Oh, Shoshone. Sorry, she's on the warpath.
1%, right? We found that too.
Less than whatever
Less
we
than
got.
1%.
Yeah, it's good. By the way, that's not disqualifying. You're just fucking lying about your heritage and then lecturing everybody on cultural issues the whole time. But anyway. She got spun up. We'll look for that other clip, but let Joe play the Liz Warren one just because it's funny.
You financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Senator, I support vaccines. I support the childhood schedule.
You know what? He should go full Dan Aykroyd and just go, Elizabeth, you ignorant slut. Just start every sentence with that. There's another good one. By the way, I was looking up. I was like, who was the last guy? It was Javier Becerra, but that's Joe Biden called him Javier Baccaria. That was the Javier Baccaria. He didn't even know. The president didn't even know who the last guy was who he appointed. It's Javier Baccaria over here. Like, even know his fucking name. So I don't know how important this job is, but all right. There's another clip where she's talking about him enriching herself. But I was thinking, here's what I was thinking about. And here's what Robert Kennedy should have said, but go ahead.
He's a Kennedy. He has enough money.
Yes, I agree.
How are you going to make money off not selling vaccines?
Here she goes.
Every one of those lawsuits. Well, let me start the list. You could publish your anti-vaccine conspiracies, but this time on U.S. government letterhead, something a jury might be impressed by. You could appoint people to the CDC vaccine panel who share your anti-vax views and let them do your dirty work. You could tell the CDC vaccine panel to remove a particular vaccine from the vaccine schedule. You could remove vaccines from special compensation programs, which would open up manufacturers to mass torts. You could make more injuries eligible for compensation, even if there is no causal evidence. You could change vaccine court processes to make it easier to bring junk lawsuits. You could turn over FDA data to your friends at the law firm, and they could use it however it benefited them. You could change vaccine labeling. You could change vaccine information rules. You could change which claims are compensated in the vaccine injury compensation program. There's a lot of ways that you can influence those future lawsuits and pending lawsuits while you are Secretary of HHS. And I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as Secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
All right, you can pause it. You just had a president who's pardoned his entire fucking family, bitch, because his son and his brother and everyone was going abroad and hammering checks from rogue nations. By the way, whose son was a junkie who goes to Ukraine to start shell companies and front Burisma energy companies and get paid and then kick the money back to you, big guy, 10%. So, Liz, are you really, how worried are you about this graft and this corruption you speak of? I know you're worried a lot about Kennedy over here making some extra bucks as a lawyer, but we just had to pardon this guy's entire fucking family because he just grifted rogue nations into paying his junkie son and his brother and the rest of his family money. Is that something you might want to give some thought to?
And also the Fauci pardon goes back to 2014.
Right. So
it goes back 10 years.
Maybe there is some grift and some corruption, and maybe there is something to think about. I don't know.
Maybe
I wonder
all
if she's concerned about
politicians
that.
are telling on themselves now through this kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, when you find Rochelle, you'll tell me. I'll put it on the screen. All right, what do we got? We got some news.
Got some news here. A lot of teachers don't want to work. This guy kind of did. Florida educator arrested after boozy teen party at principal home goes off the rails. A drunken teenage house party in Florida with shenanigans worthy of a high school movie has led to child abuse charges against the elementary school principal and a teacher.
Man.
Apparently they were partying hard in Florida.
How old were the kids?
Yeah, they were teenagers.
Okay.
So it's like a weird,
I don't know.
Listen, let the kids drink at 15, 16 at the house and just make sure they got an Uber on the way home. What's the big deal?
This story is very buttoned down about there's marijuana on the premises.
Well, there's a weird thing, like when you hear any of those stories about high school hazing rituals. You know, you have the prim and proper reporter, and she's sitting down with the Christian youth guy, and she's going, and they did what? They held him down, and he put his scrotum sack on the chin, and they go, oh my God. And I'm like, that sounds like Tuesday for me. I mean, that's all we...
That just happened on Sunday at my house. My friend,
there was a teabagging.
He brought a cake over, and he forgot it because he wanted to bring it back to his wife. And he called me. We're watching football. He goes, "Hey, put that cake on your front porch because my wife wants it." I said, "Okay, no problem." And three of us put our balls on the cake and filmed it and took pictures of it. And I put it out. He picked it up yesterday.
Really?
And we haven't told him yet.
Oh, good.
This just happened on Sunday.
No, yeah, you did the balls on the cake.
All three of us. We took turns.
This is happy birthday.
This wasn't in my 20s. This was 3 days ago.
He's like, I'd send my wife in a lift over myself, but she can't fit. She's at home in yoga pants. Now, wait a minute. You did the balls on the cake move.
Yeah.
So everyone would do, we did my buddy Ray would always do something called the turtle, which is at every party. He got naked, took the sack, pulled it up over everything, turtled it all the way up, and then walked through the party with the
satchel.
The satchel. We called it the turtle. He called it the turtle. You know what I mean?
His coin purse.
But I mean, all this stuff, if you had RFK Jr.'s cousin reading this stuff about Jim Florentine and what he did or what we did or anything we did, it sounds horrible. When you read the minutes from our high school days, and for you, apparently just a couple of days ago.
And he placed his scrotum upon the cake.
Was there frosting on the sack?
No frosting. We
No
just
frosting.
it wasn't a frosted cake.
Okay, so that's decent.
But his wife really liked the cake. So he actually came back the next day. I left it on my porch. I put it out there Monday morning. He texted me on Monday, hey, where's the cake? I go, it's on the porch. You can come pick it up.
That's what you get for getting porch cake.
Now,
and I told him, I said, we're not going to tell him yet. Let's let him have the cake for a few days. Then we'll.
Does he share this information with his wife once he finds out?
Yeah.
Probably, because he would do the same thing.
He would?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said he was a big Washington fan. He said if they won, he was going to eat his own shit, and he's 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I said, you could do it in my basement. I have a steam cleaner. I'm good to go.
Would you draw the line at a frosted cake in terms of back sack activity?
No, I would still do it.
You still do it?
Yeah. Even if there was candles burning, I'd still do it on it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But
would it be okay to give them the cake with the impression of your scrotum on the cake?
I don't think anyone sees a cake and goes, I think 3 dudes rubbed their nuts on this thing.
Nobody thinks
They'd
that.
say, like, I think the lid caved in and scraped some of the frosting off, but no one ever goes, those are nut tracks. Like, there's no Indian who can put his ear down and, like, look up, like, what's going on? He's
3 men.
scrotum. 3 men. Prodigious scrotum. Much hair. Yeah, I don't think I really don't think there's any tells. Also, when things get really outrageous, people can't even go there. Like, people don't go, either this guy was putting the cake in the box and his thumb rubbed it, or 3 guys dragged their nutsack across it. Like, they won't even go there.
Yeah. It would be hyper vigilant. One video of TikTok of you and your buds putting nuts on the cake, every cake will be thoroughly inspected afterwards.
And, my son had a couple of his friends did it. I didn't actually see it because we did it behind the bar. But you would think if that happened, 3 14-year-olds would have done it.
Right. Yeah.
You would think, okay, if someone put their balls on a cake, it's got to be the 14-year-old
The spirit of the 14 got in there.
Not them.
No, yeah. Not them. Also,
not that kind of party.
Young kids don't fuck with their friends anymore.
Yeah.
Like for my entire childhood was one big headlock.
Yeah,
just
prank.
Fucking wrestle, headlock, fucked with everyone all the time. I mean, if anyone passed out or fell asleep, they got pissed on, or the sack on the head, or whatever. It was all 24/7. I see my son, and he's like, I was like coming in the living room, 14, and it's just him and 2 of his friends there watching TV, and I'm like, no headlocks,
no nothing,
no fucking wet willies, no titty twisters, no Indian burns, like no nothing. It's like no.
My friend had a famous move called crack finger. He'd stick a finger in his ass.
No.
And put it under their nose and they're passed out.
1,000.
Called a crack finger. So we called him. He's like, don't give me crack finger.
Dirty
He's like,
fan.
I'll pass out or you're getting crack finger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was endless.
I'll wake up murderer, man.
I know.
The stuff we did is not even. It defies description. We didn't have. I mean, my friends were nuts, and they do everything. And this grosser, the better. That's all they did. And you try to. Normal people or women ever hear this? They can't digest it.
I would love to be on,
sense
getting questioned like Bobby there, and they go, "Do you have a friend that used to give out crack finger at parties?" I go, "Yeah, and he was my best man at my wedding." Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm still great friends with him.
Yeah.
Hope you didn't pass out at the bachelor party.
Oh, God.
The Hitler mustache of poo.
Every party we went to, my friends, it didn't matter whose house it was. They just go into the bathroom, walk in the bathroom, take the shampoo out of the shower, piss, fill it up with piss, put the thing back, and just set it back. It was like compulsory. Like I'd go, like, I'm going to get some chips. Yeah, I got to swing by the bathroom and piss in the shampoo, and then I'll meet you at the chip bowl. You want some chips? Yeah, I'm dying, but let me go piss let me get it out of the way. That's all they did.
We'd also take upper deckers in the toilet.
Oh yeah.
We'd take the lid off the top and go up there.
Oh, man.
And just leave it. And then, until they flush it, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Damn, I was going to...
Always upper deck. We go to house parties all the time.
I was going to invite you guys to watch the UFC, but no thanks.
I got a pen.
Bring some cake.
There's a penthouse to the upper decker.
No,
that's the school bathroom stall divider. Go up to the penthouse.
Oh,
what?
See how your bomb site's looking.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
Go to the penthouse. There is a penthouse to the upper decker. Next level.
That is.
I'm not trying to be a one-upper, pardon the pun. But you can go upper deck. There's upper deck, then there's penthouse. We go to the penthouse.
In other news,
Imagine that.
the Los Angeles wildfires lawsuit alleges video shows what started the Eaton Fire.
Oh, really?
This
That's the
is
one
like-
in
yeah, this just
Altadena?
in. Yeah, apparently a new lawsuit is alleging that a local utility company is at fault for sparking the deadly Eaton fire
shocker.
around Los Angeles after
Infrastructure.
surveillance video shows what lawyers say may have started the fire.
We have.
Yeah, we have the video.
All right. It's what are we looking at?
It's zooming in on. It looks like wires over a.
The wind.
Yeah, exactly.
Knocks
wind
the power
pushing.
wires over. Are we ever going to fucking bury these power wires, or are we just going to have? We're just going to burn to the ground
To
every
me,
4
what
years?
was so confusing about the whole thing was that Malibu, a community of well-off people, could not get the cats herded in the right direction to bury. They have enough money to do it. They would have to be without AC for like 2 nights.
We can't do things in LA.
You can't corral everybody to be on the same page.
We're
over there.
we're weirdly. So we have $24 billion to waste on homeless, but we don't have enough money to bury
Worthless,
wires along a 4-mile stretch of PCH, and we have $100 billion for a bullet train that's not a bullet train that doesn't go anywhere, but we don't have a few $1 million to bury power lines in a place where the tax you pay exorbitant taxes and homeowners tax and everything like that. So I never can figure out, like, they'll go, we don't have enough money to feed these kids lunch, and it's like, but you just gave $24 billion to homeless and we don't have anything to. So do we have money or don't we have money? It's just kind of, it's like it'd be like if your wife went, you went, could we renew my membership to the YMCA? It's only $19 a month and I use it every day to work out. And she'd go, we don't have that kind of cash, honey. And you'd go, you just bought diamond encrusted swizzle sticks for making martinis. And she'd go, yeah. But what about the why? Yeah, we don't have that kind of money. We didn't allocate money for that. We got the diamond-crusted swizzle sticks. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Hold on. You know what you'd say to your wife? Do we have money or don't we have money? I'm confused.
In this metaphor, what are the swizzle sticks? Because I don't see any major projects that they're doing.
The swizzle sticks are the train to nowhere. That's $80 billion,
everybody's rich,
the aforementioned, or the $24 billion on homeless that yields more homelessness. That's the golden-plated swizzle sticks. And then burying the wires is like the membership to the Y.
Yeah.
Just that's not going to cost that much, and I would use it.
Yeah.
But they won't do it. I don't know.
Meanwhile, when there's new cable, Verizon or 5G, they're always putting that on the, digging up and putting that in your town.
Well, let's just do it. Everything just burnt to the ground. Fires are caused all the time by these power poles that are 80 years old, falling over in a wind and starting a fire. They're an eyesore. They're a nuisance. And by the way, lots of drunk drivers get killed hitting power poles. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's look out for the drunkards out there. A lot of drunks wrapping their cars around a power pole. You can't wrap your car around. Nobody ever went, I don't know. You know how drunk you'd have to be to hit buried conduit? Phil was so fucked up that he actually ran into conduit that was buried 4 feet in the ground. God damn, he must have been fucked up. Yes.
Yeah, the lawsuit states the Eaton Fire is yet another tragic example of Edison's pattern of neglect and mismanagement, a legacy of repeated failures to address known risks associated with its aging and hazardous electrical infrastructure.
Everyone's just going to start suing everyone now. Everyone's suing. I saw a commercial last night for a class action lawsuit. Like, did your house burn?
Yeah.
Why wasn't there water in the reservoir? What started the fire? Who started the fire? How come the hydrants weren't manned? That it's going to be lawsuits.
Yeah.
One more fucking lawsuit that I'm not going to get in on. I used to sit around and watch all those commercials for Camp Lejeune.
Oh my
right.
And I was like, oh man, I wish I could get some of that Camp Lejeune money. Never happened. Then it's like, did you work in the shipbuilding industry? I'm like, I wish I did.
Were you at the Adam Carolla studio? Do you have mesothelioma?
Yeah,
I'm sure you dealt with asbestos at some point in your construction days.
As a construction worker, yeah, but I don't know who to sue.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
I wish I just worked in the shipbuilding industry. It'd be so easy. You know what I mean? Maybe I could go in there and lie.
Especially when we got paid off the books.
Yeah.
I
could just go in there and go like, yeah, I worked in the shipbuilding industry. Oh, you did? Yeah, remember Gilligan's Island? Remember that boat? Yeah, that was mine.
Photoshop you next to a schooner.
Yeah, that was me. I did that one. I would do a catamaran once in a while, but I was kind of a deep V guy. You know what I mean? Outboard, inboard, whatever. You know, I'd get my story straight. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wear one of those hats that turned up and
yeah, Yamaha makes a hell of an outboard. Yeah. I'll tell you that. Yamaha, Mercury makes a good one too. You know, inboard we do Caterpillar.
You could say, and I was responsible for the hole in the boat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't build it right. I was hungover that day.
Yeah, you know Bezos's boat. I didn't build it all, but I was in on it. Oh yeah, I worked on that. So if I get a little cash for the.
So you think that all these people are going to win these
I got
lawsuits?
the mesothelioma thing. It's all right.
You think people are going to win all these lawsuits?
I don't know how anyone's going to pay for any of them, but oh man, you know what I'd like to do? I'd be like, yeah, I worked in the shipbuilding industry for a while when I was stationed over at Camp Lejeune. I combine them. You know what I mean? Like I was building boats at Camp Lejeune. Yeah, and of course, after the place burned down in the Palisades, I had nowhere to go, so I had to stay in the barracks full time, building ships over there at Camp Lejeune. So anyway, if I could just get in on some of this cash, that would be awesome. All right, so we don't have, there's no Rochelle Walensky tapes anywhere. All right.
We're going through.
Nothing. I wonder if they scrubbed that stuff.
Probably.
Possibly.
What are you looking for?
Looking for a press conference she gave on schools not being able to reopen after she.
Well, we can probably compromise. Just find the one where she said it should open. That one.
Okay,
She
look
said,
for that one.
You look for that one.
Well, here's something to fire you up. Minneapolis. Sorry, bud.
I imagine we're going to run into the same not being able to find them.
Well, try it.
They scrub it from the internet. Minneapolis mayor announces the city will not cooperate with Trump's deportation policy.
Of where?
Yeah, Minneapolis.
Oh, God, what happened to Minneapolis?
That's a strange place.
Paul Bunyan was from Minneapolis, and so was Bud Grant.
That's right.
And now we got a bunch of fucking pussies
Kirby
in
Puckett.
Minneapolis. It's weird. Yeah, Kirby Puckett, Bud Grant, like the greatest Americans were from Minneapolis area. Kirby Puckett. Yeah, you're right. All right, here it is, sir.
I want to speak directly to people who are undocumented. We love you. We care about you.
That's right.
In the city of Minneapolis, we will stand up for you, and we will do anything in our power to help. Because you're not an alien in our city, you're a neighbor. Now, in Minneapolis, we have what is called a separation ordinance. And that separation ordinance states clearly that our city officials, our police officers and beyond, will not be gathering information showing who is and who is not documented.
Yeah, why would you want to know?
We do not ask the question with regard to immigration status, and because we haven't asked the question, we don't have any data to show documentation status in our city. Our police officers will not be cooperating with federal law enforcement around federal immigration law. We enforce state and local laws here in Minneapolis, and we will do so to the best of our ability. But as for cooperation with ICE, the answer is no. And so, again...
This guy's a hero.
Is that Omar in the yellow?
Ilhan Omar, yeah.
Yeah.
And the bitch behind me definitely didn't marry her brother to keep him in the United States. Yeah. Fucking
What?
idiots.
That happened?
Yeah.
I totally
Hell yeah.
missed that.
That's a good one. Yeah, all right. Well, they're fucked. Good. I mean, it's fine till someone gets fucking stabbed by an illegal, and then they're pissed. But whatever. I don't know. Just fucking run your city into the ground, woke tard. Have fun. All right, one more Madonna.
All right, yeah, Madonna does stand-up comedy set in New York City. She made a return to stand-up comedy in New York over the weekend. I think she edged Florentine off the stage that night. The Queen of Pop stopped by the Comedy Cellar on Saturday night, thanks to an invitation from her buddy Amy Schumer, performing a full 30-minute set at the Iconic Club. According to the tabloid, it was a bit of a rough night for Madonna.
Yeah, so no one filmed it. But
no.
Yeah, they won't. They put the phones in the bags.
Phones in the bags.
At the Comedy Cellar.
Really? Yeah.
I missed it by one night. I would have loved to see that set.
I went there to watch a show once with a really unattractive date, and they were trying to have her put a bag on her head, and I was like, "Come on now, now you're crossing the line." They're like, "Really? It's for safety of the comedian." Wow. I mean, I understand the phone. The phone I understand, right, but I feel like you've crossed the line with the bag on her head. She's got a great personality, if you care to ask. I'd be the greatest bouncer. We're going to need the phone in the bag and also Broomhilda over here. Yeah, you, 3.5. Yeah, we're going to bag the head.
That was always the old joke. Was she a two-bagger?
Yeah.
Nah, just a one-bagger.
One-bagger.
Yeah, just a
two-bagger.
Yeah.
Madonna did half an hour, which she didn't need. Jim will tell you that stand-up is a lot like, MMA. We'll know a lot in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It does not take you a half hour to figure out whether the guy's got skills or not. We'll know in the first 90 seconds.
I know, 30 seconds.
30 seconds in. You can literally tell by the way the guy moves toward the stance.
Yeah, exactly,
right? Yeah. So with stand-up, it's a little longer than MMA, but in the first, I'd say 2 or 3 minutes, we got a pretty good idea where you're at.
If you got a couple laugh lines out in that 2 minutes, then it's worth it.
We don't need to get to the half-hour mark.
Well, she's like a new comic that everything you write you think is going to be great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing she can cut out. I see she's got her notebook on the stool there too.
Mm-hmm.
So she thinks everything that she wrote in that 30 minutes is going to be great. I can't cut anything. I can't, get to the punchline quicker. And when you're going on stage for the first time, you don't do 30 minutes. You're lucky if you can get away with 5 to 7 minutes.
Well, they say this isn't her first go at stand-up comedy, or even her first time in a Comedy Cellar. 2016, she opened up for Schumer at Madison Square Garden, offering blowjobs to get out the vote for Hillary Clinton. The following year, singer made her stand-up debut at the Comedy Cellar at the behest of Schumer. So Schumer's propping her up.
Maybe Schumer, hot chicks have ugly friends sometimes because they just like being the belle of the ball.
Of course.
Maybe Schumer wants to be the funniest chick in the club. So she's like, Madonna, go up there and make everyone miserable for a half hour. And then I'll come in.
Save the day.
And I'll be the funny one.
Didn't Schumer say she was going to leave the country?
Allegedly.
Oh, yeah. Nobody left.
Nobody
How
left.
come they never leave?
No.
They make the proclamation, but they never go anywhere. Mm-hmm. Maybe they like the tax breaks. I don't know. But
Michael Cohen was going to go. Trump's old lawyer said he was leaving. And then I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
He's a hysterical douche.
I know.
Michael
really
Cohen.
is.
I've interviewed him before. He's a hysterical douche. It's kind of weird. It's like, I don't know how you make it in your 50s as a hysterical douche, but he's a hysterical douche.
He couldn't leave because of the terms of his probation.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, they revoke your passport.
He said, listen, he said, I'm leaving. Then he said, I'm not leaving. Now, the person who should have left, P. Diddy should have went, look, this guy gets elected. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And then, he's the guy who should have fucking left.
He hung around.
Harvey Weinstein and P. Diddy. Harvey should have split first term. P. Diddy should have fled this term. Either way, they both needed to flee because I don't think the fucking future's bright for either one of them. And I've said it a million times. I fucking said to Mark Garagos, he was sitting right there. I said, 8 years ago, I was like, Harvey needs to fucking gas up the jet, hammer a couple bonds, get a sack of fucking cash going, and hit the bricks. And he's like, yeah, he can't do that. I'm like, he can't? Or he's going to rot in jail. Like, he would fucking definitely do it.
Yeah.
Roman Polanski figured it out.
Yes.
He's been fucking drinking fine wine and eating baguettes and fucking hot French chicks for the last 52 years. He figured it out. P. Diddy should have definitely fled. And Michael Cohen should have fled.
Yeah.
But was Weinstein in the was Harvey Weinstein in the first? Was it the end of the first Trump administration? In the middle, and then obviously P. Diddy was before. But I'm saying,
yeah, it was
they
somewhere
both should
around.
have
It was in
flagged.
the beginning. It was right in the middle of the Me Too stuff.
2017. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was the Louis C.K.
Should have left.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm just waiting for Kathy Griffin said that if Trump gets in office, she's going to be in an internment camp. So I have a countdown going on my podcast every week. I have people just check if
You mark the
hear
calendar?
if she's going to go, because she said if he gets elected, we'll be in an internment camp. And come see me before. That's a good way to promote the tour.
It is.
Because I will be in an internment camp.
Before I'm rounded up.
Yeah.
And put in a gulag.
Yeah,
Come
so
hear
we're-
my comedy stylings.
So I'm waiting.
Oh, God.
And we're also waiting for The View to get canceled and Bill Maher to get canceled.
Oh, that's right.
They're going to take him off the air. So
They're
we're waiting for
stringing
that
up
too.
Jon Stewart next.
They're all just insane narcissists who they think the world fucking revolves around them. Let me tell you something. Narcissism, it's mild narcissism to go, I'm super fucking funny and I'm good looking and chicks love me. That's narcissism. But super narcissism is, I got a target on my back, everyone's gunning for me, and the president of the United States is going to make a camp and put me in it because I'm too dangerous to be left out on the street. That's ultra narcissism. Negative narcissism is bigger than positive narcissism. All right. We'll take a break. No Rochelle Walensky anywhere. Sad.
There's a lot of stuff on her, but most of it is after she's left.
Oh.
And some TV interviews, but press conferences I'm not finding.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily a press conference, but may have been.
We've checked through the
an
stuff
article
of her standing in front of the banner too of a CDC step and repeat. And you know,
I wonder if they removed that shit.
I don't know. I actually have a feeling that one of our wonderful listeners will find it and will be hit with it on Twitter today.
All right. Anson Frericks is going to join me. I'm going to bid adieu to my two guests. Well, no, actually, Mayhem, you're getting out of here. I think Jim can hang out because he wrote a book, Last Call for Bud Light. Coined the term go woke, go broke. So I feel like this is something we can all jump in on, and we'll do that right after this. Ever walk into a store and not know what kind of wine to get? Well, I've stopped wasting time at the grocery store staring at a giant wall of wine and not knowing what to pick. That's why I love our next sponsor, Naked Wines. Naked Wines. Chardonnay, smooth, classic. Naked Wines is a service that directly connects you to the world's finest independent winemakers so you can get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. Take the guesswork out of it. Who the hell knows what's going on at this supermarket? Why make all these decisions? Go with Naked Wine. Let the geniuses, let the wine experts figure it out. Use our code ADAM for the code and password at nakedwines.com and get their incredible deal of 6 bottles for just $39.99. Yes, 6 bottles for just $39.99. Use the code ADAM at nakedwines.com and have a little conversation starter next time you pop one of these bad boys. It's Naked Wines.
Now is the time to join the Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/Adam. Click Enter Voucher and put in the code ADAM for both the code and password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/Adam. Use the code ADAM and password ADAM for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99.
Select quote, there's so many things in life we just never get around to. Taking up that hobby, cleaning out the garage. You know you need to do that. Little things that don't really make huge differences in our lives. Yet, there is one thing that most of us have probably been neglecting that can have a huge impact on our family's future. It's life insurance. And with Select Quote, getting covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you may think. If you have high blood pressure, no problem. If you have diabetes, that's fine too. Even if you have heart disease, SelectQuote partners with carriers that can cover those conditions and others. Head to SelectQuote.com and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. It is SelectQuote. Right, Dawson?
SelectQuote. They shop, you save. Get the right life insurance quote for you for less at SelectQuote.com/Carolla. Go to SelectQuote.com/Carolla today to get started. That's SelectQuote.com/Carolla. Here's a beat from Beat It Out with Adam Carolla and Jay Moore.
My son, no matter what he's doing or where he is in the house, he yells out like this announcement, "I'm going to take my shower now!" I go, "Okay." And then he comes out, "I'm all done with my shower. I'm going to go to my room and relax."
I think that might have something to do with beating off.
My son takes 2 showers a day.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Beat It Out on Substack at adamcarolla.com/Substack. Now back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Florentine is hanging out. Anson Frericks. Am I saying that right?
You're saying that right.
That's good.
It's a tough one. Most people would say Fredericks, but I don't know, I think the D got dropped at Ellis Island back in the day.
You got a book, Last Call for Bud Light. You worked for Anheuser-Busch for a while, right?
I did, for 11 years.
And is it true, go woke and go broke is your saying? Did you coin it?
I don't think I coined that saying. I co-founded a separate business with Vivek Ramaswamy, who's a buddy of mine from high school. And I think he wrote the original book called Woke Inc., so I'll give him credit for the go woke, go broke.
Yeah, Vivek's been quite the man. There's a lot of voices coming out now, effective voices, like conservative effective voices. It's an interesting time we're living in.
It is an interesting time. It's going to be interesting to see how long I think Trump can keep this administration together and everyone focused and doing the same thing. And it's only a matter of time before different views and ideas come out. But
like, there's just like too many alpha males. Like
100%.
Too many personalities. Everyone is the star in every universe they're in, and now they're told to play rhythm guitar, and they're like, I'm Eddie Vedder, I'm Eddie Van Halen.
You have all these,
you know what I mean? Like I need to do a solo, and they're like, yeah, play rhythm in the back, and they're not going to be able to do that forever, right? They could do it for a few gigs, but not go on tour.
Not forever, exactly, because everybody wants to be the star of the show and the chief, and a lot of these guys have never been co-anything, or they've been subordinate to anybody.
Right.
And whether it's Trump or whether it's being a co with Elon, I think Elon's never been, again, co-anything with anybody. So I think it's only a matter of time before people move on and do something else.
Yeah. And so the book, by the way, I'm reading it now. Oh, not available, but available for pre-order now, but it's going to be February 4th.
That's it. Comes out February 4th.
And what's the book entail? Sorry. We all know the Bud Light story.
Yeah, I think that it's the bigger story behind it is this wasn't just a one marketing episode that kind of went awry. This was a broader story of kind of what went wrong in broader corporate America over the last 10 years, where it wasn't like Bud Light getting involved with Dylan Mulvaney, but you had Disney getting involved in parental rights issues down in Florida. You had Target getting involved in situations. And so it kind of tells the broader story about what went wrong in corporate America for the last 10 years, but really shows sort of through the lens of Bud Light, which used to be, the quintessential American lager, great American entrepreneurial success story with Anheuser-Busch and the Busch family. What happened after the company got taken over by a European firm called InBev. All the problems that kind of ensued after that takeover happened. And then more importantly, why Bud Light kind of became the poster child of really what went wrong when corporations got involved in politics.
Do you think this factors in? And I'll say it. Here's what I'm saying. Republicans and conservatives, for the most part, kind of leave people alone when it doesn't have to do with their specific agenda, which is to say, there are people in Hollywood that are conservative, but they just go to work and they shut their fucking mouth because they're making a film or commercial or series or whatever. It's got nothing to do with your shit. The progressives can't do it. They can't do it. They show up and they have to start proselytizing. They have to start correcting people and they have to start fucking with people and or firing or punishing people. They can't, like during COVID, everybody I knew that was conservative was just happy to be left alone. Like, you want to wear a mask? Wear a mask. I don't choose to wear a mask, but that's fine. But they won't let it go. They won't fucking let it go. So these people show up at these companies and it's like, I always say it's like if especially women cannot show up at the workplace and just fucking work. They have to start implementing things, you know? And if the chick's a vegan at the top, you're not going to be eating your ham sandwich too long in the lunchroom. She's going to start implementing something. And so they start implementing shit, but it's shit they want, and they're out of touch, and they don't understand who America is, and we don't give a fuck about Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah, we don't like him, or her, or whatever, or it, or they, or whatever the fuck she is today.
No,
he is.
You got exactly right, Adam. And so there, and really this goes back to what should corporations even be doing? Should corporations get involved in all this political stuff or not? And this is more of a broader, do we believe in sort of American free market shareholder capitalism, as Milton Friedman said, companies is focus on the business, or there's this European Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum view that says companies should get involved in whether it's Dylan Mulvaney issues, whether it's election integrity issues, overturning defunding police initiatives. And over the last really 10 years, this is what went wrong in corporate America, where this European stakeholder capitalism model, kind of led by a lot of progressives, a lot of pension funds, the universities that have a ton of money, took all their capital, put it into a lot of the large major corporations of the U.S. and said now, because it's never enough, to your point, it's never enough just to hire the best and the brightest. Well, now we got to have more equity, and this meritocracy is not good enough. So now we need to have quota systems in.
Right.
And now we need to have the DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, ESG, and it just kept pushing. And so when we got to post kind of COVID world, post George Floyd world, where every company in sort of North America all of a sudden is trying to be a social justice warrior.
Listen, the fact that I have to turn on the NFL on weekends and see end racism in the end zone is sickening.
Every week, and by the way, that's probably the most diverse organization in the entire country.
Choose love on the back of the helmets.
Yes, I know. After leading with the crown, putting the guy out on a stretcher.
But the NFL can afford to do that because there's no other alternative to the NFL. What else are you going to watch on Sundays?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else is on Sunday afternoon. Whereas what's interesting about Bud Light is that there were a lot of other brands just like Bud Light. You have Coors Light, you have Miller Lite, and that's why this was so effective. Is regular Americans that said, "Man, enough! Like I'm just tired of having corporate America tell me how to live my life."
And especially the second day when that woman came out that approved it and said, "Listen, it's got a frat boy image. We got to get rid of that frat boy image." Some woke New York City female said that. We don't that. This frat boy stuff. We got to get away from that.
Now, wait. To be fair, but not to be complimentary to her, a lot of this shit just surfaces. It's not like she's addressing it. It's like she gave this interview 6 months earlier, and now this happened. So I think that was that, although it may or may not be. But what I'm saying is you're still laying out your plan.
That's it. So, I mean, the person who did the marketing campaign, Alyssa, I think she did that podcast maybe a week or so beforehand.
Okay.
And she said that we were the brand was fratty, it was out of touch, and that they're going to go in a different direction. But that was the wrong direction they went in, because Bud Light was never a brand that got involved in political issues, social issues. It became the biggest beer brand in the country because it was for, everyday folks that like sports and football and music and everything else.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there was no more controversial issue. Probably this happened in March of 2023. Then this whole transgender issue. Should biological males compete against biological women in sports? Should we have gender affirmation care? That same week, you might remember there was the transgender student that shot up the Christian school in Tennessee. And then all of a sudden, Bud Light does this partnership on April Fool's Day. It was April 1st, 2023 when this happened. People thought it was a joke.
With Dylan Mulvaney.
With Dylan was the one. They thought it was a joke. And then all of a sudden, people were asking, is it really a joke? And the company said, well, no, we wanted to commemorate 365 days of girlhood or womanhood. And
sorry to jump in, but I'll give you my sort of humble take. If I thought Subaru or Budweiser gave a shit about any of this stuff, I would sort of go, well, I disagree with them, but hey, they got convictions. When Joe Biden meets with Dylan Mulvaney, if I thought for 10 seconds that old fuck even knew who this person was and summoned the he, she to the Oval Office, I would go, all right, well, we think differently, but he's got convictions. He doesn't know who he or she is. Somebody planned that out for a photo op. And if you asked Joe Biden today who Dylan Mulvaney is, he'd have no fucking idea. He didn't care about the trans community or the LGBT. Budweiser, Subaru makes cars with love and attack helicopters for the Japanese government, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that.
I didn't know that.
No, I've looked into it. They make shit for the military, which is not with love, or maybe it is with love. I don't know. They make cars with love. You know what I'm saying? Now, the NBA. Steve Kerr's got to wax on about human rights all the time. But when you ask him what's going on in China, he zips it. Because he's a fucking coward and a hypocrite.
He said, I haven't done enough information.
Yeah, he hasn't done enough information. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you go on the internet for 15 seconds and figure out the human atrocities over there. But he's a coward, and he wants to get paid. So if I thought the NFL cared about racism or Budweiser cared about the trans community, I would at least go, all right, well, they're honest.
Yeah, but
what I mean? Like Jane Fonda's a fucking idiot, but I believe her. She's an idiot, but she means it.
Yeah, but
these corporations don't care.
There's no authenticity to it, and that's the whole deal. And that's why people lost trust in this, because it's what is Bud Light all about? Someone like Trump, love him or hate him, but man, you know exactly what you're getting. There's no teleprompter, there's no filter. You're getting exactly what you want. And then this whole message has been just filtered throughout corporate America over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and they're all eating shit now, and they're all backing off the DEI, and Disney got involved. But basically what it is they what happened with corporations is the same thing that happened with Europe. They're like, we need to let all these Islamic folks in so that they can integrate and embrace our society. So open it up and let them in. And what people like me would say, because I'm racist, would be, no, they're just going to set up their own little Sharia land within your gay Paris over there. They go, no, they're going to integrate. They're going to work it out. So what we did in corporate America is like, we need lots of college-educated women and lots of gay men, and we need to be represented in the trans community, and they all need to come into our corporation. Well, they don't come in and just learn the lay of the land and start doing what your corporation's doing. They fucking take over. Now it's Sharia law. That's what you got.
Yeah, and it's and companies, man, hire people, have them come in. But this is where corporate America went wrong, is because they just didn't set down what we're trying to achieve and what mission are we on. I mean, Bud Light, we're selling beer, and we're selling beer to everyday Americans.
Right, but they got some 33-year-old chick who is
who has a different viewpoint, who is from New York City and
who went to an Ivy League school,
probably
and
never drank a Bud Light in her life, and
hangs around at parties of people that would never drink any beer.
And the whole thing is just, it's all performative. So then they can tell whoever they're. I would say it's the BlackRock, State Street's, Vanguards, all these large asset managers pushing the ESG agenda. Hey, look at how diverse our company is, and look at how these people we hired. It's not authentic, and unfortunately, it tanked the company. It took a company that used to be the most popular beer company in the U.S. Bud Light has now lost 30-40% of its sales. The company used to do $6 billion of profits in the U.S. Now it does $4 billion. Stock price cratered from $75 to $50 when broader markets have been up 40-50% over the last 2 years. So it's a real lesson in kind of what goes wrong when companies, they lose that trust of their customers, they lose that authenticity.
Well, when watching football last weekend, I saw a commercial for Bud Light that had Post Malone and Shane Gillis in it.
Yeah, but it's
so
funny.
they've turned it around a little bit.
And that's what Bud Light always should have been. And that was the whole problem.
Well, this almost feels like an overcorrection.
Well, I don't know, because Bud Light, it was always kind of Shane. You look at Shane Gillis, he's a Bud Light consumer.
No,
he looks like a nose guard. And
he's there because he drinks a ton of Bud Light. No, what I mean is yeah. You're right. Who is your constituency? Who are you talking to? It is Shane Gillis and like-minded gents. But what I'm saying is to go from the Dylan Mulvaney thing to Post Malone and Shane Gillis feels intentional. Like it feels like they're going, listen, whatever we did before, let's correct and go the other direction hard.
Yeah, and they've been doing that. They tried to do they did the partnership with the UFC and Dana White, and they donated a bunch of money to Trump's re-election campaign, and Trump had a tweet about him. They're doing the Post Malone thing. Problem is that sales haven't recovered. And the sales haven't recovered because other customers want a real authentic apology, I think, from the company.
Or do they just, I mean, aren't you guys, there might be a restaurant that you frequent a lot, and then you go there and you get a bad taste or not a great, and then at some point somebody says to you, when's the last time you went to Giuseppe's? Or whatever, you go, geez, it's been 8 years. like you can get off of something. You could be a faithful listener to this podcast for 10 years and then take 2 weeks off listening to something else, and you're not coming back.
Yeah, and also Bud Light is like, it's not that great of a beer. So it's almost like Pepsi and Coke. So if you Bud Light now, a Coors Light, all right, I'll take a Coors Light. So it's that easy that people could switch.
Yeah, it's so easy to switch. That's why it was so effective, because everywhere there is Bud Light, there's Coors Light, Miller Light at the same spot.
At the same spot, and they'll just do that. And then it's also, even to this day, of holding a Bud Light can in your hand, you're afraid that your friends are going to make fun of you.
That's
I'm not even going to do it. It's still going on.
Yeah, it's still going on. And so at some point, I don't know, my whole thing is that it's owned by a European company. At some point, I think they almost need to sell the U.S. business unit and find somebody to come in. I don't know, maybe it's Shane Gillis to be the CEO and just say, this is now what Bud Light is. It's American values. And
you're dead nuts on with the NFL, because I sit and I see end racism in the end zone and I get pissed. I'm like, why are you hustlers doing this to us? And you don't believe it, and this is bullshit. But it's not like I'm ever going to boycott. I can't. There's only one game in town. It's the NFL. We're going to miss the playoffs because you disagree. If there was a Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light, Michelob Light, like equivalent to the NFL, then I could take my moral stand. But I'm too weak to take a moral stand because that's it. Yeah. That's all there is.
No, that's it. There's nothing else. And it's interesting how this conversation continues to evolve. There's certain companies right now, Costco right now is still in this whole DEI discussion. And they're saying we're standing by it when a lot of other companies have dropped it. But another thing is Costco, there aren't a lot of alternatives to Costco.
Right.
So they can be in a certain position. Other brands are much more vulnerable. Now, I think sort of longer term is where we going with companies being more performant. It's good to see people dropped, because look how bad it got, that you had Meta that was censoring information out there from conservatives. You had Coca-Cola. If you don't even remember this, they got involved in this whole Georgia voting rights issue. Major League Baseball canceled an All-Star game in 2021.
And put it all in white Colorado.
Right, exactly.
Took all jobs away from black people that worked at the Atlanta Stadium.
It was crazy.
Joe Biden is like, this is not Jim Crow, it's Jim Eagle. All right, retarded old man. Who told you to say that?
It was crazy how bad things got.
And you know that the Redskin name got taken away because Nike said we're going to stop selling your apparel in our store because only Nike could sell it. And also FedEx said, I'm taking our name off the stadium if you guys don't change the name.
Yeah.
And the owner at the time says, like, all right, he was backed in a wall. He had no choice at that point.
Dan Snyder at the time.
Dan Snyder, they were going to lose both.
But they pulled American Indians and they said they don't care.
They don't care.
This is Karens. This is white people who care.
I think if Florida State does an amazing job. They say, we're the Seminoles because look at the Seminole tribe. They want us to have this name. They're proud. Mm-hmm. They want us to be the Florida State, I don't know, pine trees.
The whole thing is sort of insane, which is like blackface. You know what I mean? Where I go like when I was 19, I went as Mr. T, right? And then people go, oh, blackface. I go, no, I like Mr. T. And so I dressed as Mr. T because I like Mr. T. You know what I mean? So we would name our team after something we aspired to be like. It's not a slap in the face to Mr. T that 18-and-a-half-year-old Adam Carolla dressed like Mr. T. It's a tip of the cap to Mr. T because I was dressing like Mr. T. So, like, the Seminoles have it right, and I think they get paid, too. But they're like, yes, it is an advertisement for our tribe, and it's a tip of the cap to what great warriors and fighters we are. So why is this? And this is crazy. White people trying to figure out what offends other people.
That's it. It tends to be more affluent white people are the ones that are upset about the Seminole name. The Seminoles aren't upset about it. They actually want to have the name, and they're proud, and Florida State's generally a pretty good football team. But then all of a sudden you have somebody that's more, I don't know, in New York City doesn't like the name of the team. And this gets back to what we were talking about earlier, is that they just want more and more and more and more.
Right.
And so you just keep pushing it to the end and having their only view is that they will target with the scarlet R being racist or bigoted because you're supporting the Seminoles or you name whatever it is.
Well, as I tell people all the time, it's called the progressive movement. It's got the word progress and movement.
Right.
What part of those two words sound like they're ever stopping?
No,
there is no, well, we have enough genders and we have enough trans rights and we have enough whatever. There is no, if you've been around long enough, you just see them.
It just keeps
They
moving.
just keep going. And they start off with, hey, why shouldn't gays be able to get married? And you go, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sounds fine. Okay. And you go, all right, so that's what you want, right? And they go, yeah, that's what we want. And they go, all right. But it goes into, well, here are my pronouns. And you're like, what? And then they're like, you're not going to do my pronouns. Wait, I thought you wanted to get married 10 minutes ago. Now we're beyond. That's yesterday's gay news. Now we're moving on to the trans community.
You got it. There's this whole organization called the Human Rights Campaign, and they score every company in North America on basically their LGBTQ adherence to the HRC standards. And it used to be 20 years ago. Okay, fine. Do you hire gay people and you don't discriminate? Fine, great. Civil Rights Act of 1964 said you can't do that. But now it got to the point where to get a perfect score, you need to do a certain number of advertisements for the transgender community. You need to have gender affirmation care in your healthcare policy.
Yeah, well, it's a grift, too.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a bunch of people getting rich off it. And then they create these things. And it's funny. And then politicians are like, the Southern Poverty Law Center gave you a D- on racism. It's like, oh, you mean that fucking fake company that made up a title so it could give out grades to me and other companies, and now you can cite them as evidence to me being the Southern Poverty Law Center? Like, you just make shit up. Oh, we got a problem with the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law. There's all these fucking centers.
Totally.
They always give themselves these euphemistic names, like, the Center for Divine Rights and Human Progress says Carolla's a racist. and then the politicians go trot it out like it's evidence.
100%. And you're right. They all have these names, whether it's the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. And it's, okay, civil liberties, that sounds good. And this is the organizations that are shutting down free speech. Right. The ones that are telling what misinformation is.
Well, listen, they got corrupted.
Right.
And they should have never let themselves be corrupted. And it's on them, and it's on Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch, and it's on all these companies that let themselves get corrupted by these fucking people who came in and they screwed up the mission statement. The ACLU is there and was founded for a reason. And then, just like Disney, you hired a bunch of woke, college-educated assholes, and they showed up. And next thing you know, your mission statement is so perverse that you're arguing against free speech now.
No, that's it. And that's what.
And by the way, no one listens to you anymore because it's like, yeah, okay, Southern Poverty Laws, all right. Al Sharpton's Action Committee says what? You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, shut up.
It's going on in the NFL now with the coaches. They're saying there's not enough black coaches, but then they're saying the owners are racist because they're not going to hire a black coach. But 70% of the players that they give $100 million bonuses, to and pay all those guys, they're fine with that. They just don't want a black guy running the team. They're okay with all black players on the field. So they're saying how somehow. And meanwhile, it's only 13% of black people in the country, and there's like 7 actually black coaches out of 32. So that's over the quota. There's too many. If you look at it, there's too many black coaches if there's 13% of the population.
Yeah, it's in the NFL. You take a look at the college ranks as well. I mean, Marcus Freeman, who for Notre Dame, he's the national title game. You had the guy who was at James Franklin at Penn State. Yeah, there's tons of black coaches that are now in the NFL and in NCAA.
Well, look, the point is it's over, it's done. But there's a bunch of people that are still getting paid, hustling, and they ain't done.
Yeah, it's good that we're going back to meritocracy, and we just want the best and the brightest. I don't care if it's sports, I don't care if it's business. I think that's where it's heading in the right direction. But it's going to take time to unravel all these, all the rules. Whether it's the ESG committees, the DEI committees, I don't know, all these consultants. McKinsey has this diversity wins study that they go and sell into corporate America about how you have to have certain board members that look this way or sleep with that person. So that's, I think, what we're hopefully getting away from. It just takes time to unravel some of it. We're kind of going through that process now. Some companies, I think, are ahead of the game. And this is happening before Trump got elected. Companies were saying, you know what, none of these policies, they didn't drive any value. They didn't get me more customers. What they did is more divisive than my corporation.
It's a sort of newer take on the mafia, essentially, which is, do you have a DEI officer? It's like, no, that's $500K a year. I don't want to pay that. Oh, well, if you don't pay that person, then you're not going to get logged or access to or federal funding for whatever. It's kind of a digitized, above board mafia. It's just a fucking grift.
It is.
But it's sanctioned. It's like a legal sanctioned grift.
Yeah,
but when the mafia, the mafia would be like, yeah, you got a dry cleaner. Well, it should hate to see it burn down. You know what I mean? Well, what do we need for it to not burn down? Well, give me $1,000 a month. I'll guard it for you. Make sure it doesn't burn down. Well, what is so different about that and this grift? This is a governmental sanctioned modern day mafia grift.
It is. I mean, and it's happened in a bunch of different industries. I mean, take a look at what's happened. There's like 3 large estimators: BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. They all signed up for this net zero climate asset management deal. And they told essentially every single oil and gas company in the U.S. over the last couple of years, don't produce oil and gas because you're going to put too much carbon into the air. And man, if you had essentially, the oil executives got into a dark room and were smoking cigars and saying, hey, let's curtail oil production to drive up prices, everyone would go off to jail.
Right.
Yet when people do it openly and tell you, hey, do it, all of a sudden that's known as, I don't know, acting in the name of Paris Climate Accords and supranational organizations and solving climate change and all this other silliness. And that was going on not only in the environmental issues, but in the DEI issues as well. It was McKinsey and it's BlackRock and it's the Biden administration telling companies that they have to have new DEI initiatives and mandates. They're doing it in the open, which is kind of crazy.
I feel the same way about all this bullshit as I do about sort of freebies, school lunches and welfare and food stamps and all that kind of stuff. If there was any evidence it worked, I would kind of tend to be for it. If I thought giving free shit to poor people worked, or taking the homeless and treating them with dignity, or whatever your forcocked ideas this week, the clean injection zones where they can get access to clean needles without judgment, If I thought, or defunding the police, like, hey, we'll defund the police, we'll have community policing, people know their community. If any of it worked, I'd go, yeah, good. Or, well, no one's illegal, we'll have a sanctuary state. Like, if any of this shit worked 10% of the time, I might tend to go, you know what, you're right, go ahead. Except for it's all a shit show, none of it works.
None of it works.
And I don't know, Joe Biden just spent 4 years talking about what he's going to do for black people, and I don't know. Did he do anything for black people?
I don't think so, because they all voted for Trump.
What did all the initiatives do for poor blackie? Did anything?
I don't know.
Did anything ever come out the other end? Or your Baltimore school system where you provide this? L.A., I think it was like 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, where like all these kids need tablets. The reason they're falling behind is because they need a tablet. They don't have the technology to keep up with the other students. The poor kids need tablets. So what did we do? We spent over retail for 5 million tablets. Like, we didn't even get a bulk rate on the fucking tablets. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Usually if you buy more than a baker's dozen of something, they'll give you a break,
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel, his dad bought him an Isuzu iMark new, because his dad went into buying his Isuzu iMark car. I don't know why. And the guy's like, if you buy 2 of them, I'll cut you a deal. And so Jimmy's dad came home with a Isuzu iMark. For Jimmy, the point is you buy 5 million units of a fucking tablet and you pay more than retail for each one. That's number one, the system. Number 2, you hand them out to all the poor kids. They start hacking into it and watching porn. Nobody gets any smarter. And at some point, someone gets bashed over the head with a tablet. And then, by the way, no more discussion.
Yeah.
But a lot of discussion about getting those kids tablets. Now, I'm the person who goes, yeah, I think the inner city poor kid should have access to technology. I'm on board with you in theory.
Yeah.
Except for it never works.
It never
works. Not when you guys do it.
And the problem is always we need more money. So now it's going to be your taxes.
We need more money.
We need more tablets because the kids broke them because they were doing whatever with them. And yeah, there's just been a massive, I think, just preference falsification over the last 4 or 5 years because of things on the border is a good example. If you have tons of people pour over the border, well, of course you're going to put strains on healthcare and housing and everything else. But if you said that you wanted to build a wall or you wanted to stop the border, you were again once seen as bigoted or xenophobic or you don't want people in this country. And that's what the left would tell you. And so people were afraid to speak up and they didn't. And people didn't say in public what they believed in private.
Yeah, well, on a happy note, I think it's about coming to an end because you sort of need some results at some point. I mean, it's basically a Ponzi scheme where you keep saying to the guy, "Gave you $10,000. It's been a year. I know. Give me 3 more days. I'll get that money to you." And you're like, "I could ask every week for 6 months." And like at a certain point, you go, "I don't think this is working. I don't think it's working out." Like at some point, LA burns to the ground, and we go, maybe a different direction.
Maybe a different direction. Maybe the fire chief that was spending more time on DEI and telling people if they were in the fire, it's their fault. Maybe you just need to have more.
That's my favorite lady.
More trained and more qualified firefighters.
Look what Bud Light has done to these other companies. They're afraid to get Bud Lighted, like to go out on a limb and do something crazy. Like, man, I don't want that to happen to our country. So it's actually really helped. And it's still down. It didn't come back. Yeah, like you said, it's still $2 billion down in sales.
Yeah,
so it's good where there's a lot of country. I have a sister that won't go in this strip mall because there's a TJ Maxx, a Marshalls, and a Target there, and she has issues with all of them. I guess they took Ivanka's perfume line out of one.
Oh, really?
Then Target had the transgender bathroom. She won't go and it's right around the corner. I go, come on, you gotta give it up.
Hardcore.
You gotta give it. She goes, no, I still won't give it up. I'll drive 8 more miles to the Walmart. I'm not. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a hardcore system.
And who knows? I think we're only one issue away from Trump or the next George Floyd issue or what. I think a lot of companies will start coming back and getting to be more progressive again. And that's the thing that companies just need to realize is that just stick to your mission. And if there's something that's related socially or politically to what your mission is, sure, maybe you can have a point of view on it. I don't know. But if not, then
I was thinking, you know what, really? Like I like I said, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I can't quit the NFL. I'm Brokeback Mountain.
It's a
relationship. You know what the progressive version of me being too weak to quit the NFL is for the progressives? Chick-fil-A. Every 10 minutes they go, we're not going to support those Christians. God damn it, they're against abortion. And then at some point they go, yeah, but they're zesty chicken supremes. That's a good burger. That's a good chicken sandwich, man. They're too fucking weak to ever they try to get a boycott going like every 6 months. They can't do it. They're too weak.
But this is what's crazy. It's like, let Chick-fil-A be Chick-fil-A. It's like their whole deal is they're closed on Sundays, for Christ's sake.
I don't. That's my whole thing. I'm an atheist. I don't care if and In-N-Out's the same way.
They want.
Hobby Lobby too is another one.
Lobby,
but that's the thing. But they're at least authentic. We've always been closed on Sundays. We were started by Christians. We're not hiding it.
No.
Whereas with Bud Light, they started to hide it, and they lost that authenticity of who they were.
To your point, I'm not religious at all, but hearkening back to an earlier point of mine, I at least respect Chick-fil-A for being consistent in believing it.
Yeah.
I don't believe Disney or Budweiser or Joe Biden believes any of it. Like when I see all the Congress people in the rotunda take a knee because it's George Floyd's birthday with the Koofy hat on. I'm like, you fucking elderly, rich, white people don't give 2 shits about this criminal that got killed. You don't care at all. Like, you're just making all this up. If I thought they cared, like I said, I'm not religious. Chick-fil-A is. Pardon the pun, God bless. And if I really thought Disney really thought about this and really cared, or Subaru, then I'd be fine. But I don't believe it.
I don't love Ben & Jerry's as a company. I don't really eat Ben & Jerry's, but at least they're open and honest that they say on their website. Like, we use ice cream to advance a socially progressive mission, and so therefore they're going to call to give back land and Native Americans, and that they're going to call for the end of racism, and they're going to call for social climate justice, all this stuff. But at least they're open about it. So I can at least trust them. Hey, it's a free country, and that's how capitalism works. And great if there's a market for that, so be it. But that's why Chick-fil-A should never change who they are. Because just be Chick-fil-A. Be great at that.
I completely
It's
agree.
the same thing with the kneeling in the NFL because at some point it was affecting the ratings. So the NFL told the networks, don't show the national anthem because it's killing us.
Yeah.
You know, people are seeing that they're tuning out of football, and now they don't show the national anthem, so none of the guys do it anymore because they don't get any exposure.
Yeah.
If they were still showing an anthem and they can get exposure, they would kneel. But they're like, all right, no one's going to see this, so I'm not going to kneel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that the NFL that they I don't know, come back and just be about football, and we end the performative and social justice.
They don't. I
nature
mean,
of it.
you know, there's if you're a defensive coordinator, a black defensive coordinator, and you get an upgrade to a head coach, the team that he leaves gets 2 draft picks, gets a 3rd and a 4th round pick for elevating a black man to
really?
to a better position.
That doesn't seem right.
If he gets to a higher position, so you as a team, you of course have a defense coordinator that's black because if he gets another job, you're getting 2 draft picks, a 3rd and a 4th rounder in the next draft.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
that's
a little
and it'll be
nefarious.
interesting. I mean, it'll be interesting with these no DI mandates. Does that go away or not? Because essentially, you're giving preference. Right, the preferential hiring. And the 1964 Civil Rights Act says you cannot discriminate based off of race, sex, gender, national origin. And that to me seems their incentives to discriminate against
And they
people.
also have to do the Rooney Rule where they have to interview a black coach before they hire anybody.
Oh,
so
right.
a black coach has to get an interview for a head coaching job.
Yeah.
Even though you don't want them, just throw them in there. Okay, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. And then they'll hire who they really want to hire.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because in the same way that the Supreme Court overturned affirmative action, because even 25 years ago, there was a case where one of the judges said, hey, at some point, this is going to go away because you just can't have this into perpetuity. Yeah, the Rooney Rule, to your point, there's 7 head coaches that are black in the NFL. And so that's, you have, what, a quarter of the teams or whatever it is versus the black population to be 10%.
Yeah.
You know, do you need it or not? Because I think we're at the point that there's tons of qualified coaches and great coaches and hire based off merit and period. The NFL should lead the way since it's the most popular sport in the U.S. on that.
That white old billionaire owner is not going to not hire a black guy if he's qualified for the job when he's paying the black players on the field all this money.
100%.
Agreed.
If you had
you wanna
90% white guys on a team and 10% black, then I go, this guy's probably racist. If you had 2 white cornerbacks and 2 white safeties starting, I'm like, this guy's probably racist. And they're going 1-16 every year.
Whoever coached Chuck Cecil was a racist. the owner of the Atlanta Falcons? Where did Chuck Cecil play?
Yeah, he was.
All right, Anson, let me give the book a plug. Last call for Bud Light. Pre-order it now. Available February 4th. Jim, shows, special. You can't please them all. It's available on Amazon Prime and then live shows. Just go to jimflorentine.com, right?
Yep. Atlanta and Orlando coming up.
Good conversation, Anson and Jim. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla. Boca Raton tonight. That show's going to be sold out. But Naples, Off the Hook show's coming up over there. Going to be in Florida. Bunch of shows in Naples at Off the Hook. That's coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. Until next time. And for Anson and Jim saying, mahalo.